Mr. Civil Justice?
I think Judge wants it for the record purposes.
I know, I'm changing.
All right. All right, let's proceed.
Okay, back on the record. Ms. Martinez, who ordered for you to have a 3-day EEG?
I'm sorry, it was on mute. I didn't get to hear that.
Oh, I said, who was it that ordered for you to have a 3-day EEG?
My doctor?
Okay. And why did they order for you to have a 3-day EEG?
Because of my head injury that happened with Tovar there when I got slammed to the attacker.
All right, I'm gonna, before we took a break and we were talking about this, I'm gonna open up now the THR Presbyterian Hospital Flower Mound Exhibit 25. Let me share the screen. If I may share the screen, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it not enabled? There we go.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right. Can you see the record there, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
All right. So it says here the date of admission is 12/11/2017. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And was this Dr. Cantrell who ordered this?
Yes.
Okay. So Dr. Cantrell was the one who ordered the 3-day EEG at Texas Health Flower Mound. Can you hear me, Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
So let me go to the results of that. So on page 21 of Exhibit 25, page 21, says the impression, and this was done on, signed by the doctor here on 12/20. So this is about 4 months after the incident. It says here the impression plan is can you read that, Ms. Martinez, or do you need me to read it for you?
If you could read that for me, please.
Intractable spells of alteration of awareness and uncontrollable jerking of the hands with the need to rule out intractable simple partial seizure disorder. Now, can you tell me what is this uncontrollable jerking of the hands? What occurs?
My hands shake a little bit there.
Do you still have that today? I mean, this was done 2 years ago. Do you still have that problem?
Very, very little.
Okay. What about spells of alteration of awareness? Do you lose your awareness?
Yes.
Can you please expand on that? What does that mean when you lose your awareness?
I forget sometimes where I'm at. I forget what I'm doing. Just my memory. I just forget a lot of things. My daily functions.
Did you have to keep following up with your neurologist after these after the EEG?
I did, yes.
Okay. And what was she treating for you for afterwards? I mean, please tell the court.
For my headaches, my migraines, just my follow-ups, really for my headaches.
And when did you stop seeing Dr. Cantrell?
When I lost my insurance, when I lost my job.
When did you lose your job?
January of 2019.
Okay. And also at the same time you were, and this should be the last medical record to go over with you, but you were seeing Dr. Myant, is that correct?
Yes.
And who's Dr. Myant?
Could you spell that for the court reporter?
It's M-Y-I-N-T, Myant. First name Twinkle. Okay, so How long was Dr. Myatt your PCP?
I would say right around 18 years.
Wow. And when did you stop seeing Dr. Myatt?
About, let me see, about 18 months ago, 18 months ago.
I'm going to show some, let me present to the court here. It's sort of a combination, Your Honor, of Exhibit 26 and 27, Texas Health Physician Group and Dr. Myatt. They're one and the same, but we had two different affidavits on them.
Okay.
Okay, this is page 54 of Dr. Myatt. And here at the bottom, just delete that. In March, this is March of 2018. It says your patient was tearful and upset that she has difficulty walking. Were you still in pain 6,
Yes.
7 months after this injury?
Yes, sir.
And were you receiving psychiatric help also from Dr. Myatt?
Yes,
What kind of psychiatric treatment were you receiving?
for my head,
No,
my memory loss.
what I mean by psychiatric, were you having depression, mood swings? Can you opine, please, to the court about your mental health?
Severe depression.
Why were you suffering from severe depression?
My memory loss. I mean, just not being able to function daily routines. I mean, my panic attacks, anxiety.
Did Dr. Myatt ever recommend that you file for disability?
Yes,
Why is that?
just not being able to function my at work and my daily functions of every day.
So here it does say in your notes on page 77, for the record, of Dr. Myatt's medical records. Let me just pull the date. The counter date is June 28, 2018. So here Dr. Myatt writes, patient has been advised to consider filing for disability with Social Security. How old are you, Ms. Martinez?
48,
And so in 2018, in June of 2018, how old were you?
46.
Did Dr. Myatt explain why she recommends you should file for disability at 46 years old?
For the reason not able to finish my daily tasks and everything that has been contributed to my everyday life.
And those problems with your everyday task, everyday life, when did they begin?
Back in August of 2017, when the incident happened that took place with Tovar.
I'm going to just show you two more records here, Ms. Martinez, from Dr. Myatt. On a visit you had to Dr. Myatt in August of 2018, about a year later, did you report to Dr. Myatt that you're having pelvic pain?
Yes,
Were you missing work because of your pain?
yes,
So, but did you tell the doctor that you wanted to go back to work? Do you mind telling us more about that?
yes. I try to go back.
Oh, sorry.
I tried to go back, but I was limited on my working conditions.
And what were those conditions? I mean, why did the doctor tell you not to go back to work?
Well, one was because of my pain with my pelvis, and a lot of it was to do with my memory. And they moved me from my permanent position to a different position where it wasn't my original position. So they put me literally part-time to a different position there.
And I know this is hard, but I hate to ask this question. Did these issues make you gain weight?
I'm sorry.
It says here that the patient has gained some weight. Is that from the problems that you were having from these injuries?
Yes.
Also, a year later after the injuries, were you still suffering with stress and anxiety?
Yes. Depression. Yes.
Have you always suffered from depression?
No.
How did this incident cause you to be depressed?
From the injuries that I got. I never suffered from all the stuff that I'm suffering now, from what I was normal before. I'm not normal no more. I can't enjoy my grandkids the way I would love to, or spend time with my family like I would like to. It's just not normal. It's not fair to me or my family.
I understand, Ms. Martinez. Do you need a moment?
Yes, please.
Ms. Martinez, are you okay?
I'm sorry. Yes, Judge.
That's okay. Mr. Raphael, do you happen to have a summary that you've submitted of the medical, how much it is and all that stuff?
No, I've only done a record of affidavits, but I'm almost done with this. Pretty much the last. I have one more page on medical, and then just going to testify to the amount.
Okay.
Ms. Martinez, are you ready to continue?
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to show just one more record here. I think I jumped ahead to August earlier, but this is from your visit to Dr. Mayant on March 14th, about 7 months also. It says here that you worked for, I think you testified, the orthopedist was Koop Chandani. Am I saying that right?
Yes, sir.
So Dr. Koop Chandani says that it says that you had a fractured pelvis again. Is that correct? Did you fracture your pelvis again?
Yes.
And how did that, I mean, I've never fractured a pelvis. So for the court, how did fracturing your pelvis, how did that feel and affect your life?
Horrible. Yeah, it affects me. I mean, it's an everyday struggle, just even trying to get out of bed. I mean, it's very, very painful. Very painful. I mean, me trying to enjoy, like I said, everyday life with my grandkids. I mean, it's not normal. I mean, trying to enjoy playing with my grandkids. It's hard. I mean, doing my tasks when I was at work, it limited me. You know, there's a lot of things when you do at work and they ask you if you can fulfill your duties and you tell them that you can't do this or that, then that's when they tell you if you can't fulfill your duties and they can't keep you there. Therefore, they let you go. And it's just not fair when they do that and you enjoy and you love your job and you've been there for so long. It's just not fair. And that's what it basically come down to, where I just can't keep my job, you know, that I love and enjoy doing for a very, very long time. That limits me.
Right. It says here that you were taking tramadol. What's tramadol?
For pain.
Are you still taking tramadol?
Yes, sir.
What other medications have you been prescribed because of your injuries?
Diazepam, which is Valium for my anxiety, panic attacks, um, trazodone, depression, and my Topamax, which is for my migraines. And they've had to up the dose on that one twice. So it's gotten worse.
All in all, can you tell the court how much have you had to spend on medical bills for the injuries from this incident?
I know it's over 20,000.
Now, are you still seeing some of these experts?
No,
Why aren't you seeing these expert doctors?
I'm currently out of work, so I don't have medical insurance, and I just can't afford to pay out of pocket anymore.
Are you still seeing at least Dr. Mayant?
I do have a current PCP, so yes.
Is it Dr. Mayant or who is your PCP now?
It's Dr. Metzger.
So if you had the insurance, you would still continue to go see these experts, correct?
Correct, yes.
So you testified you were working. How much, when you were working for Texas Institute of Orthopedic Surgery, how much were you being paid?
$17.50.
$17.50, what, an hour?
An hour, yes, sir.
And so you worked there, you said, for a year and a half?
Yes, sir.
Just for the record, what did you do prior to working there?
I've been in the medical field for at least 20 years. So before that, I was in the medical field before that as well.
What did you do before that job specifically?
Typically, I was front office lead.
Also a medical office?
Yes, sir.
Do you happen to remember the name of that office?
Not off the back with my memory, I don't recall the name.
I understand. How long did you work in that office then?
Previously, I don't recall off the top of my head.
So you previously testified you were making $17.50 an hour. How much, do you recall how much money you made in 2017?
2017, I believe it was 45,000.
Okay. Did you make the same amount in 2018?
I believe it was a little bit less.
Why was it less in 2018?
Because of my injury, my head injury.
And did you lose your job because of this injury?
Yes, sir.
When did you specifically lose your job?
It was beginning, it was January of 2019.
And were you able, I mean, I don't know if you might have testified this earlier, and I do apologize to the court if you have, but why specifically did you lose that job in January 2019?
Because of my disability, my head injury. I couldn't memorize a whole lot of things and they let me go.
Now, have you been looking for work since?
I've tried, but a lot of things are just limited to where my memory, they won't take me. It's limited me a lot to, where they will accept me with my disability.
Are you looking in any field, or does it have to be medicine?
So basically in anything that I know that I can work in.
So it is your testimony that you have lost your job because of the injuries that bring us here today.
Yes.
and you've talked about this a little bit, but I'd like to know just a little, if you can just help us, how has your life changed day to day from the injuries that bring us here, and for this case?
Changed dramatically from how I used to be. I mean, basically normal to not normal anymore. I mean, just normal day living. I mean, it's a struggle just getting out of bed and trying to get into the shower and just getting up and trying to remember what I have to do for that day and just doing my regular chores. I mean, and taking my medications every day, doing my
Maybe,
shopping that I have to do.
is there anything that you enjoyed doing previously to this that you can't do anymore? Hobbies, for instance?
Yeah, I used to do my, my yard, my gardening, and enjoying life with my family, my grandkids. Were, like I said, I can't enjoy that no more. That's what breaks my heart. I can't enjoy my life anymore with him. And that's really taking a toll on me.
How does it affect your relationship with your grandchildren?
Well, there's a lot of things that it's really cut back on me where I can't really interact with him like I would like to as a grandma with my grandkids. And that really, really hurts.
Has it affected your marriage? Or did it affect your marriage?
Completely, yes.
Why is that?
Because we ended up getting divorced where my husband he just couldn't tolerate no more the memory loss where he said he had to constantly be reminding me of things because I couldn't remember a whole lot. And it was just a struggle every day between me and him where he just got tired of telling me over and over of what to do and how to do things and stuff and just got tired of it. So it was just too much to handle for him. So we ended up in a divorce.
When did you get divorced?
December of last year, after 25 years. It took a toll on us. It broke the family. It destroyed us.
Just a few more questions, Ms. Martinez. Has this affected your ability to sleep at night?
Yes.
What was that?
Very, very much so.
How does it affect your sleep?
Not sleeping. I mean, it's at all. I mean, it's affected me a lot.
Do you remember this incident every day, or
Every day it affects me. It affects me in all ways. In all ways, I mean, I have nightmares. I wake up sometimes at night. It's just, like I said, it's a nightmare. It's a horrible feeling. I just wish I could just snap out of it and just wish it had never happened.
I hate to ask you this question, but I have to on the record. Have you gone back to El Paisano since?
No, never. Never want to go back to that place.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Martinez. I'll pass the witness.
Ready to cross?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Are you okay, Ms. Martinez? You want to drink some water before we start?
Yes.
Go ahead. ¿Estás hablando? Sí, yo, ¿verdad, no? Are you ready, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'm going to play the video again and ask her some questions about it, the video that Mr.
Okay.
Rafael played. I will stop it and ask you questions about it, and then I'll play it again if need be. Is that okay, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't recall what number this is, Your Honor.
It is plaintiffs 2.
Your Honor, I'm showing the wrong one. My apologies. It's that technology thing that I can't get. I'm playing the wrong one. Can you play it, Mr. Chalaki? And make sure sound is up. I can play it. Let me see if I can find it. You got it?
Yes.
Please play it.
1 second, please.
And then share the screen. And mostly listen to what your daughters are saying. Just a heads up.
Okay.
I got it. You want to play it, Mr.?
Yes, please. If you will.
Are you all going to play the video?
Yes, sir. Technology, please bear with me. I'll do it in just 1 second.
There you go. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Can you play it? Can you turn the volume up and play?
Let me make sure the volume is fine. Can you hear it?
You lost it.
I'm gonna replay it. I'm not on mute. There we go.
They attacked her and they broke her arm again.
She has a broken
She has
pelvis
a broken
already.
pelvis and an arm.
A fractured pelvis, actually.
She's semi-unconscious right now when they attacked her on the floor.
The broken pelvis and the
No, that's been there, but they just like reassured that it's broken, but they broke her arm right now. She couldn't move it for anything. Mom, is this your left arm? Your right? Her right. It's her right.
her left arm.
Yeah.
Just report it. Make sure you get them.
Tovar. Right there. They wouldn't give me their badge numbers,
But we're gonna get it.
but we're gonna get it. Sanchez, bitch, right there. Obregon and Tovar's bitch ass. Yeah, say hi to camera, bitch. Now y'all want to uncover.
Does she have an ID?
On her, I'm not sure. Summer, does she have an ID on her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid ass bitch.
You saw that video, Ms. Martinez?
Mr. Payme, you're muted.
Did you see that video, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, I did.
And it shows you on the ground, it shows you handcuffed, and it shows you speaking to EMS officers, EMS personnel and the police officers, does it not?
I didn't hear anything. I mean, I don't remember anything there.
Do you remember the portion where your daughter was trying to figure out which arm and then you tapped your other arm, show which one that hurts on the video?
I mean, on the video, but I don't recall any of that, sir.
That's fine. That's fine. Now let's go through some of the evidence that Mr. Raphael went through, but the portions he wanted the court to see. So let's start here. Do you remember the early mornings of August the 19th, when you went to El Paisano when this incident happened?
Do I recall?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of it.
Yeah.
I don't recall all of it. Like I said, I mean,
Okay.
I was in and out of consciousness.
Now, you recall that I had the pleasure of taking a deposition a few months ago at Mr. Raphael's office, correct?
Yes,
And that's the first time you and I ever met.
right.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at you on my screen. That's why the camera doesn't show me looking. Now,
Mhm.
let's get some stuff figured out once and for all, because I've got 3 different versions in my deposition. So during that day, you were working. That was a Friday. I think we established it was a Friday. You had worked that day, correct?
Right.
And you were working at Texas Institute of Orthopedic Surgery, correct?
Yes.
And what time did you get home that day?
Don't recall clearly what time I got off that day
4 or 5 o'clock?
because it would vary. Probably about 3 or 4.
3 or 4. And then who else showed up at your house that day? Now, this would be, I'm sorry. This would be August the 18th because we're not into midnight.
Right.
So who else showed up at your house that evening?
Me and my daughters.
That would be Summer Rose and Monique, correct?
Right.
Okay. And what did you, Summer Rose and Monique, do after you left the house?
We went shopping to a couple of stores there.
Did you go to a mall by any chance?
Yes.
In fact, I think you told me you went to the Grapevine Mills Mall, correct?
Grapevine, yes.
And then you testified before that you stayed there until the mall closed. Do you remember that testimony?
No, not till it closed.
Your Honor, may I, Ms. Martinez, do you remember giving your deposition to
In
me?
the deposition, yes.
Do you remember you swore an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. But that day you were so
Ma'am, let me ask the question.
willing.
Let me ask the questions.
Your Honor, can she please finish answering?
My question was, did you take an oath?
I'm sorry?
My question was, did you take a note to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, but I'm saying that day you were just yelling at me. You were coming down so hard. You were rude.
I believe Mr. Rafael has the video of that deposition, so maybe you can show the court how rude I was to you that day. Nero.
I
But
did
anyway,
not take the deposition.
was that the same oath you took today?
Yes,
Okay. Now, when I asked you, may I share the screen, Your Honor?
You may?
And I'm referring to, I believe it's page 83 of deposition. I'm sorry. My question from you was, okay, let's stop here. You testified that your mall closed and you dropped off your grandchildren and you went to El Paisano around 10 o'clock or 10:30. Did I read that correctly, ma'am?
yes,
And I said you ate. Is that correct? Do you see that?
yes,
What was your answer?
yes,
And then my question was, then can you read I'll read the question, you read the answers. How's that? Question. Okay, then you ate what, an hour or so maybe? What was your answer?
yes.
No, the answer is on line 20. Can you read that?
Okay, line 20.
Yeah.
Took us about 20 to 30 minutes to get our food.
Okay. So we can establish that you got to El Paisano around 10 or 10:30 in that evening, correct? By your testimony. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, on there, when I'm reading.
Well, that's your testimony that I just read to you. So
Right,
how
but like I said, that day you were just yelling and you were just pounding me there. I mean, you were literally, you were just intimidating me, and you have to realize I do suffer from memory loss. I don't recall everything clearly.
I understand. And that's fine. And the way that I asked, let's stop right here. Now you testify that the mall closed, you drop off your children and you went on to El Paisano around 10 o'clock or 10:30. Was that rude?
No, but the way you express yourself, sir, I'm just referring to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm holding the objection that's in that deposition. It's form.
Can you?
Overruled.
Thank you, Judge. All right. So you testified that you got there at between 10 and 10:30. You said from home, after coming back from the mall, you and your daughters went to El Paisano and you got there about 10:30. Do you recall that testimony? We just looked at it, right?
Yes, sir.
And then I asked you if you had anything to drink that evening at all. Do you remember what your answer to me was?
I don't recall, sir.
You don't remember?
I don't recall.
All right, let me show you again your deposition on page 89, if I may share the screen, Your Honor. Can you see this, Ms. Martinez?
Yes,
Let's start by line 5. It says, I'll read the question, you read the answers. Do you see the reference to intoxication? What's the answer?
I see that.
Question. Do you remember testifying earlier that you had nothing to drink that evening? What's your answer?
Correct.
Okay, let's go to page 26. Line 12. Do you see that line 12, ma'am?
Yes,
My question is, did you have any alcohol beverages while you were at El Paisano? What's your answer?
no,
Next question, line 15. So the whole evening you had not had anything to drink. What's your answer?
no,
So let me ask you this question now in front of the judge. Did you have anything to drink before you went to El Paisano?
no.
Okay.
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Payne was testifying by reading it in different orders.
Judge, I'm reading her
Those are
testimony.
complicated questions, Your Honor.
don't understand what you're saying. That he's reading in different orders? Is that what you said?
He's reading a line saying, did you say earlier, instead of reading what she said earlier, he's reading a line later from a 130-page deposition and picking and choosing lines from different pages. He went from page, I think it was 80 or 90, now to back to page 30. And he's jumping around trying to create testimony. And then
Your Honor, I'll start. I don't waste the court's time because my question was about drinking, but if he wants me to start earlier, I'll start earlier.
Objection's overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. So it's still your testimony that you had nothing to drink before you went to El Paisano. Is that right, ma'am?
Are you reading?
No, ma'am. I'm asking you a question. Is it still your testimony that you had nothing to drink after you left that whole evening? Because you just said no. Is that still your testimony?
I don't recall.
Excuse me?
I don't remember there.
Okay. So you don't remember if you had anything to drink, right?
No,
Okay.
remember there.
Okay. Let me share my screen again. This is, again, I am on page 94 of your deposition. I'm going to start on line 14. Okay, due to witness, well, I know Mr. Rafael is going to object, so I won't read that part. Line 20, I asked you, in fact, you said you had nothing to drink. What was your answer? Can you?
The answer below it, I was not intoxicated.
My question, it's a different question. Did you have anything to drink that evening? I thought you said no. You had not had anything to drink. What was your answer?
Sir, I don't know where you're reading at.
Oh, do you see this screen on does everybody see my share screen, Your Honor?
Yeah.
See the screen.
Okay, I'm looking at line 20. Do you see the line 20
Okay,
number?
line 20,
It says my question. Q means question.
right.
In fact, you said you had nothing to drink. A means answer. What was your answer below it?
I was not intoxicated.
Question. It is different. It's a different question. Did you have anything to drink that evening? I thought you said no, you had not had anything to drink. What is your answer below it?
Highly intoxicated, I was not.
Okay. And we continue reading. Line 1. That's question number 1. Earlier on, I asked you if you had anything to drink before that evening. You said no. Do you want to change that testimony? What is your answer on line 4?
If I had anything to drink, okay. Yes, I did then.
So you did what? What's your answer on line 7?
I did have something to drink.
A few minutes ago, in front of the judge, you said you did not have anything to drink that evening. I brought your deposition from about 6, 7 months, 8 months ago, and you did admit that you were not truthful and you had something to drink at the house, correct?
objection formed. Your Honor.
Overruled.
Thank you. Can we agree that you were not truthful during your deposition, ma'am?
Yes,
So did you have anything to drink that evening or not?
I did.
Okay. So what you told the court a few minutes ago that you had nothing to drink was incorrect, correct?
You had confused me with the questions where you were jumping up and down from one number of a question to another. So I was confused on that, sir.
Before I put this up, I asked you, Ms. Martinez, had you had anything to drink that evening? You said no. That's why I popped this up.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yes, sir.
So when you said no in front of the judge today, that was not true, correct?
Right.
Your Honor.
And when confronted with your previous testimony, you corrected your statement, correct?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
When I confronted you with your prior deposition testimony, you corrected your statement and admitted to the court that you did have something to drink.
Mr. Pema, I get it. I get it. You don't have a jury. I know it. I understand what happened. You can
Yes,
move
sir.
on.
Thank you. Now, after you left your house,
Your Honor, I just want to obtain keep my objection on the record. I mean, I'm even confused, and I never suffered a head injury for all those questions.
Okay, let's move along.
Miss Martinez, after you and your daughter had drink, and I'm not going to put a number on it, I'll let your daughter do that. You left the house and you testified that you went straight to El Paisano, correct?
Yes,
In fact, you testified you got to El Paisano around 10:30, correct?
it was a late evening. Yes, sir.
Your daughter told me that from the house, you all went to the Players Club in Oak Cliff for a couple hours to have a few more drinks. Was she lying to me?
I'm sorry, the video cut out.
When I deposed your daughter, she told me that from the house, the three of you went to a club named Players in Oak Cliff for 2 or 3 hours and had some more drinks before going to El Paisano. Was your daughter lying or telling the truth?
It was about 2 hours. She was telling the truth.
So just now I asked you if you went straight from home to El Paisano and you said yes. Now
No. We went from the house, we went to Players, and from Players, we went to Paisanos.
So before, when I asked you, you went straight from house to El Paisano, that was incorrect as well, correct?
I'm sorry?
So previously, when I asked you if you went straight from the house to El Paisano and you said, yes, we got there about 10:30, that would have been untruthful, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. He's asking questions within questions. We're trying to remember questions.
Your Honor,
He's saying, do you remember this question from this? And is that question of this question correct? I'm confused, Your Honor. I am confused.
Your Honor, I asked her, what time did she get to El Paisano? She said 10:30.
Oh, he did, Your Honor. He asked, did she get there at 10:30, Your Honor? He's asking if he's asking questions, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I've never heard it like this before.
Maybe you should try practicing some more. I'm sorry, Judge.
You told me all you like, Mr. Pema.
Your Honor. May I
Guys,
ask my
okay,
question?
come on, guys. Let's
May I
move
ask
on.
my questions?
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I asked you earlier what time you got to El Paisano. You said about 10:30, correct?
Right. Yes.
I asked you what time did you get home from the mall. You said when the mall closed between 9 and 9:30. Do you remember that?
We didn't say they're still closed, though. We went to just go pick up a couple of things, and then we went home.
That's why I got to go back. May I share my screen, Your Honor?
You may.
Ma'am, this is a copy of deposition transcript. So let's do this again. On line 16, I asked you, so tell me what happened that evening if you remember. Do you know what evening? What is your answer?
Do I remember the evening? Yes.
No. Read line 18, please.
I went home. Yes. I went home after work.
Keep reading.
My daughters came over and we went shopping, and then we went for dinner.
My question on line 21 says at El Paisano. What is your response?
Yes.
My question, well, this incident happened, I think, sometimes around midnight. What is your answer on line 25?
Yeah, right. Yes.
And then next page on line 1 says, so where did you go shopping? Can you read your answer?
We went to the mall, Great Ryan Mills Mall.
And my question is, I assume mall closes at 9 o'clock. What's your answer?
Yes.
And then on line 5, my question is, so what did you do between 9 and midnight? What is your answer?
We went to the mall, we went shopping, and then we went to go eat.
And then my next question is, so you were there at El Paisano from, let's say, 9:30, 9:45, when the mall, did you stay at the mall until the mall closed? What is your answer on line 11?
Yes.
So can we agree that you testified you stayed at the mall until the mall closed as you testified under oath?
I guess, yes.
So, okay. So 9:30, the mall closes, you go home as you testified, you pick up your daughters, you go to El Paisano to eat, and you get there around 10:30. Do you remember that testimony?
Yeah, I guess it's been so long. I don't recall. I mean, like I said, I'm not normal. I have memory loss. I don't recall clearly.
Okay. All right. Okay. But you did remember when telling me that during your deposition.
It's been a long time from February.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay.
I don't recall it clearly. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's fine. If you don't remember, that's fair. You don't remember. Now, so you describe for the court what happened. You said you went to El Paisano at 10:30. You said you had to wait to get a table, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you ordered food and it took what, 20, 30 minutes to get your food, correct?
About that, maybe a little bit longer, but yes. Mhm.
So 10:30, let's say 20, 30 minutes of waiting as you testified, 20, 30 minutes of getting your food. So that's an hour. How long did it take you to eat your food?
About 30, 40 minutes, more or less.
Now, I forgot to ask you this. If you left the house at 9:30, you would not have gotten to El Paisano at 10:30 because you just admitted you went to the Players for 2 hours, correct?
That was afterwards, though.
After what?
That was afterwards, I mean.
Say-
That's with traffic though, by the time we get there, because we come from Louisville, by the time we get there, sir.
That's not my question. You testified that you left the mall about 9:30. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then you said you got to El Paisano between 10 and 10:30. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, yes, sir.
But you also testified that after you left the house at 9:30, you went to Players for 2-3 hours. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, sir.
So if you add those numbers, 9:30 to get to Players, let's say 10, 2 hours at Players, that puts you at 12:30. Players drive to El Paisano, that puts you close to 1 o'clock, would it not?
Yes,
So your testimony that you got to El Paisano between 10 and 10:30 is incorrect. It's closer to 1 o'clock in the morning.
hold on. I mean, just hold on with my memory, sir. Hold on. I'm trying to remember. So I mean, just
Take
give
your
me a
time.
minute. Yes, just give
Take
me a
your-
minute there. I mean, I'm trying to remember because like I said, I mean, my memory doesn't work as well. And you have to realize it's been a long time for me. It's been a long time. I just got to try to
Sure.
remember. I mean, I can remember on daily basis what I have to do.
Judge, objection, non-responsive. Let's go ahead and tell me what your time is.
And
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I'm trying to remember, sir.
Yeah, please.
I remember. I mean,
Are you reading something, ma'am, on the screen?
no, I'm trying to focus is what I'm trying to do. I mean, I can close my eyes and I'm trying to
Please do that.
remember, but it's so much going on that I'm trying to recollect.
I was trying to make it easy for you. I was saying that I was just reciting what you were saying. You testified, and I showed you that mall closed at 9, and you left the mall, came home between 9 and 9:30. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, so I write 9:30 here. Then you said that you had a drink at home with your daughters. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
So let's just say 10 o'clock, you leave your home. Okay?
Okay.
So 10 o'clock, you leave your house, you go to Players, right? What do you, right?
I'm sorry. The audio cut off.
So 10 o'clock, you leave your house to go to the Players, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How long does it take you to get to Players from your house in Louisville? Players is in Oak Cliff.
We didn't come all the way back though. I mean, to come back home.
You did not come back home from the mall to drop off the grandchildren?
The children weren't with us though. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Stay with me.
Okay.
Judge, I did something that
Hold
I,
on. Oh, where are you saying that we're coming back with the children from?
ma'am, you testified that you came home after work, picked up your daughters and grandchildren and went to the mall.
Right, right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Uh-huh.
when you came back from the mall, you dropped the grandchildren at home, correct?
Yes, yes. Okay, there.
then you
You had
had-
lost me for a minute. I'm sorry.
And then you had some drinks with your daughters at the house, correct?
Right. We had one drink there.
Whatever that is, we'll get to that. So you had one drink with your daughter at home. So that puts you around 10 o'clock because you'd gotten home by 9:30, correct?
Yeah, but we didn't, like I said, we didn't stay at the mall till it closed though.
Well, I showed you testimony where you
Earlier, right, right. But like I said, you were putting a lot of pressure on me when we done that in February, where you were yelling at me and just being rude. You had just put a lot of pressure. You were just yelling at me. I didn't know what to answer to you. That's the reason I just answered what I answered to you.
Ma'am, I'm asking you the question. The judge is sitting here, and if I'm yelling at you or being disrespectful, I assure you he will admonish me, sanction me, and may even throw me in jail. So was I talking to you the same tone that I'm talking to you today?
No, you weren't, sir. You were not.
Then let me answer my question in the tone where the judge is our witness. All right? Okay. So what time did you get home from the mall?
We got home that day at the mall because I got off like at 3 or 4. We got home about 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock,
Okay.
the latest.
Okay. And then you had drinks with your daughters.
We had one drink at the house. Yes, sir.
And then you left and went to Players.
Yes,
And then you said you stayed at Players 2 or 3 hours, correct?
right.
Did you drink at Players?
Yes,
In fact, Players is a bar, isn't it?
it's a sports bar, sir.
So it's a bar where people drink.
They drink and play pool and dance. Yes, sir.
And then from Players, you and your daughter drove to El Paisano.
Right.
And you still stand with your story that you got to El Paisano between 10 and 10:30 p.m.
Yes,
That's fine. That's fine. So you get to El Paisano, and I think you testified it took 20 or 30 minutes to get a seat, correct?
yes, sir.
So that puts us around 11 o'clock. Correct, ma'am?
Yes, yes, sir.
And then you said it took about 20, 30 minutes for them to bring your food, correct?
Right,
So that puts us around 11:30, correct?
right.
Now, the incident happened about 2:45 or 2:42 in the morning the next day. Can you explain to the court what you were doing from 11 o'clock until 2:42 in El Paisano?
Whatever took place there, sir. I mean, I don't recall because I was in that consciousness. I don't know, sir.
That's fine. If you don't know, that's fair. Just if you don't know something, it's okay to say, I don't know. All right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you testified already as to how the incident occurred, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what I recall you saying is your daughter went to pay the bill and she came back and said, I don't have enough money. Do you remember that?
No, we had enough money. They just charged us for the tortillas that they had not brought us to the table, sir.
You got to stay with me. I took your deposition and I
Okay.
asked you about that. Again, you're saying that I was mean to you, but let's see.
His objection, Your Honor, Mr. Payman's testifying half the time. If he's going to play the gotcha game, he needs to pull up the testimony each time instead of continuing to put words and everyone saying this, and that.
I will. Ma'am, I'm back to your deposition. This is a transcript of your deposition. And I am Mr. Raphael on page 27. It says, on line 7, it says, I'm sorry. Question was, I understand. I'm saying that it's not a place where, like a fancy restaurant, where it takes them an hour to prepare your meal. It's one of those places you go there, you order your food, and within 5-10 minutes, you get your food. You sit down and eat it with your family, correct? What was your response? Can you read 7 and 8 for me?
There is a wait at times. We waited up to 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes to get our food.
So that's the hour we talked about from the time you got in until you got your food, correct?
No,
Well, that's what you said here.
no, there was a long line, sir, outside. We had to
But that-
wait.
So that testimony is not correct on the deposition.
It's not correct, right? You didn't ask me if there was a line outside, how long we had to wait to be seated, or how long we had to wait to get our food.
So even though your answer was there's a wait time, we waited up to 20 minutes, 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes to eat our food. That was a wrong testimony you gave me on your deposition.
Right, there was no specific time from when you asked me to get in, sit down and order, sir.
Okay, that's fine. And then same page on line 23, I asked you, and tell me what happened next after you ordered your food. Can you read your answer on line 25?
We ordered our food and I gave my daughter the money to go pay. And she came back
Hold on. And then I say, wait a minute. And then what do you answer?
and told me, Mom, I think we've been overcharged. Gave me the receipt and I went up there and told the cashier.
So can we agree that your daughter went up to pay for the food,
Right,
not you initially?
right.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So when your daughter came back and said, we've been overcharged or whatever, we kind of talked about this some more during your deposition. So my question on page 31 from you was, so you're sitting inside the restaurant, and when you finish eating, your daughter goes up to the cashier and you said it was Rose. What was your answer on line 5?
And I'm sorry. And what you said, and you
Line
said it
5.
was
I read line 2, 3, and 4. I'm asking you to read line 5, which is your answer.
Summer Rose.
Then my question on line 6 says, question, Summer Rose, and then there was a discrepancy. She came back and said, Mom, I think they overcharged us. Is that right? What was your answer on line 9?
Yes,
And then I said, and what happened next? And that's when you talk about you walked up to the cashier, correct?
right.
So can we now agree that she came back and says there was a discrepancy? Right?
Yes,
Okay, that's fine. And then you said you went up to the cashier to talk about the discrepancy over that tortilla.
yes, sir.
And I think you testified that the cashier had to call the waitress over, right?
Yes,
And at the same time call Tovar over, correct?
yes,
You sure about that?
yes.
No doubt in your mind.
No doubt in my mind.
The judge heard you. Okay.
Okay,
All right. So Tovar was called over at the same time that the cashier was called over, correct?
the cashier, no, the waitress is called over first. And then the cashier waved in Tovar.
Right away. Immediately, right?
Not immediately,
Okay. How long afterwards?
a minute or two, I mean,
Minute or two.
yes.
And how long were you, the cashier, were talking while Tovar was standing there before he took you outside?
A couple minutes,
Couple of minutes.
yes.
No doubt in your mind.
No doubt in my mind,
You sure, man?
yes,
Okay.
Actually, Your Honor, how many times are you going to ask the same question?
right.
Yeah, sustained. Let's move along. You're kind of repeating here.
He's
Well,
trying to-
I'm not judge, if I may. Let me show you your deposition testimony when I asked you. When the question was asked, you see line 14, ma'am?
Yes,
And when you brought that receipt up to the cashier, how long were you standing there with cashier until you were taken outside by Tovar? What was your answer on line 17?
total time was 40 to 45 minutes.
And question was, and you did testify that other customers were checking out at the same time. What was your answer?
Yes,
And then the question on line 21 says, during the 40 to 45 minutes you were speaking with the cashier, what was your answer on line 23?
in between the little bit I could, yes, asking how much longer it was going to be.
And my question was, were you getting frustrated?
I was frustrated, yes.
Yeah, hold on. All right. Let's go to page 144, line 12. Question. And did she, did the cashier call Tovar in immediately when you walked up to her? What was your answer on line 14?
I would say within 5 to 10 minutes.
So it was not a minute or two, it was 5 or 10 minutes, correct?
It was a couple of minutes, right?
Well, couple is 2. 5 or 10 is
Okay.
5 or 10, okay?
Okay.
And then my question was line 50. So how long was Mr. Tovar standing, almost touching you? What was your answer?
How long was Tovar standing?
Line 50.
No, when he came up to me, he bumped into me with his big old belly.
I understand, but I'm asking you to read the question. I read the question. How long was Mr.
So how
Tovar
long was he standing?
No, ma'am. Read.
I know, sir, I'm concentrating. I'm trying to focus, sir. So I would say a minute or two.
So read read the answer you gave. Question was, so
About
how
30
long was
minutes.
so
Okay.
so how long was Mr. Tovar standing, almost touching you? What was your answer?
About 30 minutes. But like I said, sir, when you took this deposition, like I said, you were yelling at me, you were pounding at me, and you were very, very rude.
Would it
You
surprise
had me intimidated, sir.
Sir,
you
would
were
it,
yelling at me.
ma'am, would it surprise you if I told you that these are the questions your attorney asked you? Did he intimidate you as well? These are Mr.
He wasn't yelling at me or intimidating me, sir, by no means like you, though. I'm sorry, I mean,
But these are the questions that he's asking you, not me.
I understand, sir, but he was not rude like you. I mean, you just come down very, very hard on people. I mean,
I apologize. All right.
Your Honor, I did not ask those questions. I don't know what he's talking.
May
Why
I,
don't you show me on the deposition who's asking those questions?
I will just,
I have the deposition. What page was that on?
I'll pull it up and I'll let the court know. Don't know why it's not opening up. I think I got too many things open.
you just intimidate people, Mr. Faber, the way you come across.
Your
You
Honor,
come across very ugly and rude.
Your Honor, it starts on page 142. It's examination by Mr. Raphael.
Okay, do we have her deposition?
I don't know, Your Honor.
What tab is it, Mr. Raphael?
Let me pull it up, Your Honor. $5K.
And Your Honor, Mr. Raphael's examination begins on 142.
Okay, so what page was this on?
And this was on page,
You were just reading from.
I'm just reading it. It was on page 142.
We see.
No, 142. And then when I was asking him those stuff,
Your Honor, Mr. Payment was reading testimony from page 86 of the deposition, which he was asking the questions, and then just told the court that I was asking those questions.
hold on.
Let me just, okay, yeah, he's right. That wasn't the right page. Let me see. It's 86, because it's about Tovar.
Let me find it. Because I got to do a search.
Okay, well, so what's the part that you were saying about Tovar that she said Tovar was there for 20 or 30 minutes. That's
It's
not on
page
either of those.
144, Your Honor. Page 144, 2 page before Mr. Raphael starts asking questions.
Let me see.
And it's online.
I mean, I think it looks like you were kind of switching back and forth between questions that you had asked and questions that he had asked is what it looks like. But let me see.
Yeah, he had actually page 86 up just now when he said it was me. That was page 86 on the screen, Your Honor.
Ma'am, Your Honor, the 30 minutes with Mr. Tovar standing there is on page 144.
144.
That's not what
Okay.
he was reading, Your Honor, and that's not what was on the screen, Your Honor.
Line 15, Mr. Raphael.
I understand, but you were reading page 86. That was what's on the screen.
Well, there were, okay. He read both, I think.
Just looking around, Your Honor.
Anyway, all right. So sometimes it was. So she says, yeah, and in response to your questions, Mr. Raphael, so how long was Mr. Tovar standing there almost touching you? About 30 minutes. That was a question that you asked her.
I understand, Your Honor. I was just the fact that he had a different page on the screen, different testimony.
Okay. All right, let's move along.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, after the incident that you described already, and I don't want to go through it again, were the EMS personnel called? Do you know who EMS are?
Yes,
Emergency Medical Services, the fire department, medics. Do you remember that?
yes.
Did they come to the scene? I think we saw a video of them at the scene, correct?
I seen the video, but yeah, I don't recall.
And do you remember talking to them?
No. I don't recall.
We'll go back to the deposition later. Do you remember them taking you away from the scene?
No, I don't recall that either. Just being in and out of consciousness, being knocked out. I don't recall that, sir.
Huh? Stay with me.
All right. Do you have anything else?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to find the location where she says she spoke to the EMS people. I got plenty on. Can you find that for me? Yes. I'll move on. Mr. Chalaki can find that, Judge. So eventually, do you know that you were placed in an ambulance? Do you recall that?
I don't recall. I don't recall that. I mean, with my memory loss, I don't recall a lot of things.
Do you remember if you were transported from the scene to the hospital, or did you walk to the hospital, or did you ride in a private car?
I don't remember, sir. I don't recall. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let me show you what's been admitted as exhibit number 1. And this is the medical records from EMS, which is the City of Dallas EMS. I think it stands for Emergency Medical Services, the ambulance, okay?
Okay.
And it's marked exhibit 1. It shows the date. Do you see where it's highlighted? I'm going to try to walk you through it. Do you see where it says date 8/19/2017 on top here?
No, I don't see nothing.
You're not sharing screen.
My problem, my mistake, Your Honor. Do you see it now, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Do you see what the date here? What's the date?
Yes, 8/19/17.
Do you see where it says the call received on the right-hand side says 2:49:15?
No, I don't see the time on there.
You see right here on the right side of the page says call received is highlighted.
Call received, yes.
What does it say?
Call received.
What time?
I don't see that part.
You see right here it says 024915? Right
Sure.
here? Do you see it, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Okay. And then he says that there were time on the scene was 16 minutes. Do you see that?
yes,
Okay. I'm not a doctor, but it says PMH, endocrine, and diabetes. Is those things you suffer from?
yes,
Okay. Do you see where it says assessment on the in the blue?
yes,
And do you see where it says breathing? I've highlighted some portions. Those are the portions I want to talk to you about. It says breathing. It says normal, not slow, not rapid, not apneic. Do you see that?
yes, sir.
And it says quality, unlabored, not swallow, not irregular. Did I read that correctly?
Yes,
Okay. And it says right. It says lung sounds, and we don't have to worry about that. Do you see where it says neurological?
yes,
It says mental status, right?
yes,
And it reads normal, oriented person, oriented place, oriented time, oriented event. Did I read that correctly?
yes,
Okay. And then you see bottom, it says neurological.
yes,
It says, can you read what it says?
yes,
Read it, please.
all normal gait, normal speech. I can't read the other parts cut off there.
Appropriate speech.
Okay, normal strength, symmetrical strength, normal
Cerebral
function. Mhm.
And then it says mental status. It says not combative. If I read it correctly, correct me. Not combative, not confused. Do you see that?
Yes.
No hallucinations,
Mhm.
no unresponsive, not unresponsive. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And then neurological, it says what? No seizures,
Mhm.
no tremor.
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
It says decelerate posturing, extended. Do you see that?
Yes.
It says no decorted posturing. I mean, I don't know what that means, but the court will read it, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And then he talks about no facial droop left, no facial droop right, no weakness right, no hemiplegia left, no hemiplegia right. Did I read those correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And then let's read the narrative. Can you read this narrative for the court, please? Or do you want me to read it?
If you would read it, please.
Okay. It says EMS arrived and found PT patient sitting on the ground, crying A&O times 4, complaining of being pepper sprayed. Patient also stated that she has pain in her left because a security guard threw her on the ground. EMS placed patient on a stretcher and into the back of, I guess that's the ambulance. EMS took vitals. Vitals are documented. While en route to the hospital, patient became agitated and combative. Patient got off the stretcher and demanded to be released. EMS asked patient to please sit down. Then patient swung her left hand at the EMS staff, yelling, "Let me out now or I'm opening the door and jumping out." EMS stopped in the nearest parking lot and opened the door. Patient climbed out of the ambulance under her own power. EMS asked patient if she still wanted to go to the hospital. Patient refused. AMA times 3. Patient signed refusal. DPD arrived and took custody of the patient. Do you now remember what happened in the ambulance, ma'am?
I don't recall, sir.
Do you remember telling me that you
No.
wanted to get out of the ambulance because you couldn't breathe?
I just know I couldn't breathe at all
So
at the time of the incident that took place when I got slammed to the ground. I was in and out. I mean, I blacked out because I don't recall nothing.
but you don't remember jumping off the ambulance, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. You don't remember taking a swing at the EMS personnel, do you?
No, sir.
You don't say, let me out now, or opening the door, jumping out, do you?
No, sir.
You don't remember the police coming out and arresting you afterwards? Well, I shouldn't say.
Objection, Your Honor. She was not arrested.
That's what I said. I was withdrawing that. You don't recall the police coming there, placing you in handcuffs and taking you to the hospital, do you?
No, sir.
Objection. It doesn't say that she was put in handcuffs, Your Honor.
I'm not referring to this document. I'm just talking if she remembers that.
That didn't. So then you're testifying, Mr. Payne. Your Honor, again, it doesn't show that the police.
Okay, wait. So he has the right to ask the questions, but Mr. Payment, you are kind of making it sound like you're asking from this document. So
Then I'll stop.
take the document down. You can ask the question. If you could say,
Yes, ma'am.
do you remember being handcuffed and taken to the EMS? But you can't be referring to this document and quoting from things that aren't there.
I just had the document on, but do you remember jumping or getting off the ambulance?
No, sir.
Do you remember the police being right there and asking you to either go with the ambulance or you go in the police car?
No, I don't recall that, sir.
Do you remember the police placing handcuffs on you?
No.
Do you remember the police then taking you to Parkland Hospital?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't recall. I'm sorry, just in my memory. I mean, I don't recall.
Ma'am, if you don't remember, that's a fair answer.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Don't be sorry. Let's now look at the Parkland Hospital records that's been submitted. And I don't remember the number, Your Honor, but I believe they've been admitted into evidence. Let me go up there and show you. Ma'am, these are the medical records that your attorney has furnished and submitted as evidence for
Exhibit 18, I believe.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So let's go through these Parkland Hospital records. Can you see this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Again, on top, I've highlighted the portions. Those are really the portions I'm going to ask you about, all right?
Okay.
It has your name up there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And below it has the admission dates, August 19th, and discharge date, August 19th, correct?
Yes.
Again, your name, and it has your information, correct?
Yes.
And it lists your employer as Earth Grain. Did you work at Earth Grain at that time?
No.
So that's wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The document here, and Mr. Rafael, if you can't follow, let me know and I'll read the page number. It says 8/19/17, 3:41, patient arrives in ED, emergency department. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So roughly 3:45 in the morning. Correct? Correct, ma'am?
Yes. Yes.
And then you were discharged the same day at 10:01. Do you see that?
Yes.
So you were there roughly around 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, on page 6 of the documents, this is Parkland's records. It says problem list as of 8/19/2017. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And then it says reviewed October 1st, 2016. Did I read that correctly? Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
And it says alcohol intoxication. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And it says from November 1, 2016 to present. Did I read that
Yes.
correctly?
Yes.
Then it lists your other problem as intracranial hemorrhage. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And the date is on 10/30/2016. Right?
Yes.
About 10 months before this incident. Correct?
Correct. Correct.
The other one is a closed fracture of frontal bone. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And what's the date of that event?
October 30th of 2016.
To present, correct?
Right.
Let's see what the doctor signed off on 10/30/2016 at 8:42 a.m. It says left frontal parietal skull fracture extending to the vertex. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And the date above that is 10/30/2016, correct?
Right. Yes.
And then below that, it says patchy left frontal subarachnoid hemorrhage. Same date, 10/30/2016, correct?
Yes.
And then it has subdural hemorrhage, same time, 10/30/2016, correct?
Yes.
And then below that, it says bifrontal and anterior bitemporal extraaxial hemorrhage, some subarachnoid, and some likely subdural on the right. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Below that, it says right temporal front scalp contusion, initial encounter, right? 10/30/2016.
Yes.
Then it talks about there is a small bifrontal temporal hemorrhage contusions, correct?
Yes.
You know what contusions are?
No.
You don't know what a contusion is?
No, sir.
Okay. And then in the bottom, it says previous injury pelvis, pepper sprayed at taco place for disturbance. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now let's look at this page. And this is page 7. Diagnosis. What's the first diagnosis listed, ma'am?
It says alcohol intoxication,
And what's the date?
8/19/17.
What's the one below it?
Alcohol intoxication.
Same date, right?
Right.
And then he has 2 assaults about the same date, correct?
Yes.
And then last one says assault by official authority, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, let's go back one more time. These are your medications. Again, dated 11/1/2016. Associate diagnosis, bleeding in the brain, bleeding in brain, closed fracture of frontal bone, initial encounter, back on 11/1/2016, correct?
Yes.
These are talking about the head injury you sustained Halloween night of 2016, correct?
Right.
About 10 months before our incident.
Right.
So can we agree that you had these significant head injuries a year prior?
They weren't significant. I mean, I recovered from them, sir.
We let the judge decide if what we talked about are severe or not.
Okay.
Okay. Now I am on page 9. It says, attending note, I performed a history and physical examination of the patient and discussed the management with the residents. I reviewed the resident's note and agree with the documented findings and plan of care unless noted differently, correct?
Yes.
And then it says history, MVC, which I believe stands for motor vehicle collision, with past pelvic fracture. States it hers after altercation this morning. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
So we established that you had the pelvic fracture back in 2016. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
All right. Now, they did a pelvis x-ray of you at the Parkland Hospital. Remember that?
I don't recall them doing a pelvic exam.
You may not remember, but the document is here. It's dated August
Right.
19 at 8:59 a.m., correct? You see a date here?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And what's the pelvic x-ray? What does it say after pelvic x-ray?
X-ray,
Negative, right? Okay. And then let's see what your chief complaint was at Parkland. It says shoulder pain, correct?
yes.
Okay. Now, did you have any seizures after the 2016 head trauma, or did they start after our incident?
I know I had a few after this incident.
That's not my question, ma'am. My question is,
Okay.
did you start having seizures after the 2016 head injury, or did you not have any seizures prior to this incident?
Honestly, sir, I don't recall because it's been so long.
That's fine. So let's see what the Parkland Hospital says. Parkland Hospital says 45 female PMH, patient medical history, seizure disorder. So they're telling us that you already have a seizure disorder. Do you agree with that?
Okay. Like I said, I don't recall. So, I mean, I guess so, yes.
Anxiety presents after being tackled by security guard around 1 a.m. this morning, correct?
Yes,
That's what he says. Reports hitting back of head and upper back on concrete, correct?
yes.
You must have told them that, otherwise they would not know. Would you agree with that?
I guess, like I said, I was going in and out of consciousness, sir.
No, that's fine. Developed panic attack and was SOB. I don't know what SOB means, but right? Did I read that correctly?
Yes,
EMS called and evaluated, then PD brought to emergency department for eval. Did I read that correctly?
yes,
Was able to walk and range of motion all extremities without any difficulty. Did I read that correctly?
yes. That's what you're reading there,
So,
yes.
so Parkland is saying on their records that you were able to walk and range of motion all extremities without any difficulty. Are they lying?
If that's what it says, sir, I mean, that's what you're reading there. I mean,
So my question is, are they lying that you were able to walk and range of motion all extremities without any difficulty? Either they're lying because you're telling me that you can't move, you're unconscious.
no, well, they had me on meds. I know that. So, I mean, I wasn't in pain while I was under their care there. So, I mean, I was good. They were all on medications.
Well, we'll get to the medication because I'm not testifying. We'll get to the medication. See if they ever gave you any medication. Okay?
Okay.
It says last seizure 9 days ago. How would they know you had a seizure 9 days ago unless you told them?
I told them then, I mean,
So can we now agree that you were having seizures before this incident?
no, I mean, yeah,
Okay, well.
Yeah.
And then it says patient is a 45-year-old female presenting with shoulder pain, right?
yes,
And then it talks about no other issues, but it says no shortness of breath, correct?
yes,
Right. And then they cite your past medical history as being diabetic and having migraines in the past.
yes.
So the migraine headaches and diabetes have nothing to do with the August 19th incident at El Paisano. Can we agree on that?
My migraines got worse though after this.
That's not my question. You having migraines was before the incident,
Right.
before the El Paisano incident, right?
Yes. They just got worse though afterwards.
Well, we'll get to the worst. Promise
Okay.
you. Either I'll ask you or your attorney will ask you, but just bear with me. And then he talks about alcohol use. Yes. All right. Let's talk about review of symptoms. It says eyes. Can you read what it says about eyes?
Yes.
What does it say?
Negative for visual disturbance.
So they're saying that there's nothing wrong with your eyes, correct?
Right.
All right. Now, this is at Parkland a few hours after the incident, right? Okay. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Musculoskeletal. What does it say? Positive for back pain and myalgias, correct?
Yes.
Negative for joint swelling and neck pain. So they say no neck pain, correct?
Yes.
Are they lying or are they telling the truth?
Objection, Your Honor. Why does he keep asking if they're lying?
Are they wrong or are they right?
That's
About
what it
knowing-
says there. I'm assuming it's correct. I mean,
All right, that's fine. Neurological. What does it say?
negative for dizziness and headaches.
So is that correct? Is that what Parkland records reflect?
That that wouldn't be correct there. I mean,
So Parkland is wrong in their medical records.
I would say.
Okay, all right. Now here it says physical exam. Do you see that?
Yes.
It says constitutional. What does it say? She is oriented to person, place, and time, which means you know where you are, and what time it is, right?
Yes.
She appears well developed and well nourished, correct?
Yes.
What's the next line in bold letters?
Smells of alcohol.
So you had one drink at 7:30 at night the night before, and 7 or 8 hours later, Parkland says you smell of alcohol. Can you explain that to the judge?
Objection, Your Honor. He's testifying again. She testified different ways about drinking. He asked 20 times different ways about drinking, and then he's picking one answer.
Can you, I withdraw the question. Can you tell me why Parkland would say you smell of alcohol if you did not?
I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I've already answered that question earlier.
No, the question is about Parkland. I'm saying, do you know why Parkland would note in bold letters that you smell of alcohol if you did not smell of alcohol? Do you know?
Objection calls for speculation, Your Honor.
I'm asking if she knows, Your Honor.
I don't know why, sir.
That's fine.
I don't.
And then in the bottom, do you see underneath eyes, it says neck?
Yes.
What does it say? Can you read what it says after neck?
Normal range of motion, neck supple, no fibromyalgia present.
So they say you have normal range of motion in your neck, correct?
Right,
This is on the few hours after this thing happened, correct?
right,
Psychiatric. She says she has normal mood and affect, correct?
yes,
Now, initial emergency room plan of care. It says, let me read it. So for speeding things up, and correct me if I'm misreading. It says 45 female reports assault and with shoulder pain, but full range of motion and no focal point pain. Did I read that correctly?
yes,
Back pain without findings, including abrasions, even in tank top. Now, remember the video you had a tank top on, right?
right.
So it says back pain without findings, including abrasion, even in tank top. Am I reading this correctly? Say that even though you had a tank top on, there was no abrasions on you, no cuts or bruises? Is that what that means?
I don't recall, I mean, seeing any on me. I mean, I couldn't check my back or anything, so,
But can we agree that Parkland says there were none on you?
right,
Okay. And then it says, patient adamant she has pelvic injury and requested imaging to disprove, right?
yes,
You demanded an x-ray of your pelvis
yes, sir.
because you knew you had fractured the year before.
No, because I was hurting, sir, that night.
No findings on x-ray. Did I read that correctly?
Yes,
So on the morning of 8/19, a few hours after the incident, x-ray revealed there was nothing wrong with your pelvis. No fracture.
right,
Can we agree on that?
yes, sir,
Yeah, all right. And then they discharge you home.
yes,
All right. Let's go to the next page, which is page 12. And I'll read it just for speed of things up. And if I say it incorrectly, I'm sure you or Mr. Rafael will correct me. It says, assumed care of patient, AAO ×4, patient emotional and tearful about the evening, ambulates with even steady gait. Do you know what that means?
no, sir,
Moving all extremities voluntarily. Eyes red and teary. Patient states, I'm so upset because the security cop did not have to do that. Patient states she was grabbed on right arm and pushed on the ground and then pepper sprayed because she got into an argument with an employee, correct?
right.
And it says right upper arm slightly red.
But it was not an argument.
That's not the question. I'm just reading, ma'am.
Okay, sir,
I'm just reading. It
Sorry.
says it documents that your right upper arm slightly red, correct?
that's what it reads. Yes, sir,
It says possibly hit head, right?
that's what it reads. Yes, sir,
And then it says denies loss of consciousness, LOC. You denied losing conscious at Parkland. But you told me you were unconscious and going in and out. Remember that?
I did. I was in and out because I don't recall a lot of stuff. Yes, sir, I blacked out.
Right. But Parkland's records say that you denied loss of consciousness.
That's what they say. Yes, sir.
And then down here, it says HX history of broken pelvis last year, right?
But it says, yes, sir.
Good. And then the bottom says patient sitting in chair. Do you see that here?
Yes.
Okay. Last part, I think it says ambulatory, non-ambulatory. What does that say? Can you read that or do you want me to read it?
Ambulates without assistance with steady gait.
Right. Okay. Let's read this part and I think we're done with Parkland. Let me read it again into the record, and if I misread it, please let me know. This is at 3:57 a.m. It says patient presents to ED, emergency department, via PD, police department, after reportedly getting into an altercation at a restaurant. Patient states she was overcharged, which led to an argument with an employee, which then led to her being slammed down by security. Patient reports pain to RUE, however, is noted to be very animated when telling the story and displaying full range of motion of all extremities. Patient reports unknown loss of consciousness, but states, I think I hit the back of my head. I think I hit the back of my head. Patient eyes appear red and watering as patient was pepper sprayed with pepper spray. However, no loss of vision reported. Per PD, patient was initially about to be transported here by DFD, Dallas Fire Department, but ran out of the ambulance and was then taken to Parkland by PD. Patient admits to drinking only 3 Bud Lights this evening. You testified earlier that you had 1 drink at home. Where did they get the 3 Bud Lights?
I don't know, sir. This is what they're saying. I mean, I don't know.
So somebody at Parkland came up with this story and wrote it down, not from you.
Objection, calls for speculation.
I'm asking if it's from her.
Sustained. Let's move along.
He says that, I think your attorney went over that, does not appear intoxicated. I believe, no. Finally, because I want to make sure what your condition was when you were at Parkland. These are all the neuro tests that they did at Parkland General Appearance, and it shows that you're neuro, alert, awake, and oriented ×4. Do you see that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And then even at 416, alert, awake, and oriented, correct?
Yes.
And then at 8:05:39, alert, awake, and oriented, correct?
Yes.
So they're not saying that you're going in and out, you're unconscious. They're saying you're alert, awake, and oriented, correct?
Right.
Objection, Your Honor.
Do you agree with that?
Objection, Your Honor. What is he agreeing to? It's either it's what's said or not said.
I read something and I said, do you agree with that? That you were alert, awake, and oriented at 3:55 at Parkland.
That's fine.
All right. Let me stop sharing so I don't give it
Your Honor, if
away.
I may ask though, in like 10 minutes to take a break.
Yeah, are you almost done?
With Parkland, yes, Your Honor.
You're not almost done with this witness.
No, sir. I got 5 other medical records to go through.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll reconvene in 15 minutes
Thank you, Judge.
at 3:05.
Thank you.
Miss Morgan, are you one of Judge Hoffman's interns?
Yes, I am.
You have no audio.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
It's the computers.
Hello, everyone.
Yes,
Your
sir.
Honor, before we begin, I just had a question. If Mr. Pema, if this is going to be a lot longer, going over each record, one of Miss Martinez's daughters is here to testify. She has work tomorrow, and I'm wondering if he's going to go along with those questions, if I can just oppose her, because it shouldn't be long for this one. So she can go back to.
Up to you, Judge.
Which daughter?
This is Summer Rose Hernandez. She was not the one at the inside the restaurant with her mom when she was outside when this happened. So it's not going to, my questions aren't going to take long.
Okay, that's fine.
That's
Okay,
fine.
let me just go get them and set them up on the computer. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Thank you, Ron.
Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Martinez.
I think we still have Ms. Martinez sitting on the witness chair.
Where is the witness?
She said she's right here. I was just logging her.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. All right, ma'am, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
You may proceed.
Judge, Ms. Martinez's mic is on.
Is what?
Let me go turn it.
I did. Yep.
I'm exercising, Your Honor. I'm running around. Okay.
Good.
She was sworn in. I think I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yes.
let's go ahead and proceed. She was sworn in.
Ms. Hernandez, can you please state your full name for the record, please?
Summer Rose Hernandez.
And if you can, just try to speak up as loud as you can so the computer can catch you, all right? Or just try to lean it. How you feeling today?
Good.
How old are you?
29.
And you're currently working?
Yes.
What's your occupation?
CSR.
What is a CSR?
Customer Service Representative.
And where do you work?
I work for Lindsay Healthcare.
Okay. All right. Now you've testified or you were deposed on this case about a year ago, correct?
Correct.
So you know why you're here today.
Yes.
So let's go back to August 18th, 2017. That was a Friday, correct?
I can't recall.
Okay. Now, do you remember early after, when did you first see your mother that Friday, that day?
Probably maybe we went shopping. So maybe like around 4:30 or so.
Okay, and where did you guys go when you saw her 4:30?
We went to Grapevine Mills.
Okay. That's a mall.
Yes.
Okay, and how long were you guys at Grapevine Mills?
We were there for like a few hours.
And who is we?
Me, my sister, my mom, my kids.
How many children do you have?
3.
Boys, girls?
I have 2 boys and 1 girl.
What are their ages, if you mind me asking?
I have a 1-year-old, a 7-year-old, and an 11-year-old.
But you only had 2 back in 2017. You only had a 7-year-old and 11-year-old.
Correct.
Okay, so what time did you leave Grapevine Mills Mall?
Roughly like around 5:40, 6-ish.
Okay. And where did you guys go from Grapevine Mills?
And we went to my mom's house.
And who's we?
Me, my mom, my sister, my kids went to the house.
Everybody was still together.
Yes.
All right. And what did you guys do at your mom's house?
She made dinner, so we ate dinner there, or lunch, and had a few drinks there.
Had a few drinks.
Mhm.
Who had a few drinks?
I did.
Okay. Who else?
My sister, my mom.
And how many drinks did you all have?
I know I had 2. I can't recall how many they had.
And what were you drinking?
It was a mixed drink.
Do you recall what kind of drink
I
it was?
don't. I can't recall what kind.
Okay, so you had a mixed drink. And what time did you have those mixed drinks at?
Probably like around 6:30-ish, around there, 6:45, 7.
Okay. And how long were you at your mother's house for?
Not too long. Maybe give or take maybe like an hour or so.
So where did you go next?
We went to Players.
What time did you leave your mother's house to Players?
I don't know, it's probably close to like 7:30-ish.
Do You mind taking the camera and just pulling it down towards you a little bit?
Pull it forward, you said?
Yeah, just pull the computer downwards, kind of like, so it goes like that. Can you do that?
I'm so sorry, froze out for a good minute. What'd you say?
Can you pull the screen down a little bit because it's still a little hard to hear? Just pull a little closer to you.
Okay. There?
So just repeat the last question. You said you left your mother's house around 7:30?
Yeah, maybe around 8. I'm not sure. I can't recall the time.
And from 8 o'clock, you went over to Players. How long did it take to get to
Correct.
Players?
Takes about 35 minutes.
And why did you guys go to Players?
Just to have a girls' night.
And so who was watching your kids?
I love my kids there with my dad.
So what time did you arrive at Players?
About 9-ish.
Okay. And how long were you at Players for?
Give or take, maybe probably 2.5 hours.
And did you drink at Players?
Yes.
What did you drink?
I drank 2 Smirnoffs.
All right. And did your mother drink?
Yes.
What did she drink?
I can't recall what she drank.
Do you recall how many drinks she had?
I cannot recall. I think she had 2 or 3.
Was your sister Monique drinking?
Yes.
How many drinks do you think she had?
I would say the same amount, about 2 or 3.
Who was driving?
I was driving.
So where did you go after Players?
We went to Paisanos.
What time did you leave Players?
Probably around about 10:45-ish.
And what time did you arrive at El Paisanos?
We got there around 11:20, 11:15, 11:20.
And have you been to El Paisanos before?
Yes.
How many times have you been to El Paisanos?
Prior to this incident, quite a few times. Maybe, we've been going there since we were little. So about 15, 16 years.
Okay, and when you arrived that evening,
Mm-hmm.
11:15, was it crowded?
Yes.
How long did you have to wait to get a table?
About 30 minutes or so.
Now you're going to be asked this later. So are you sure about 30 minutes, more than 30 minutes, or less than 30 minutes?
I can't say approximately 30 minutes. So
I'm not asking for I'm just saying. So you're saying it's just about, more or less?
yes, yes.
Okay, and then so then you got a table. Is
Mhm.
that correct?
Correct.
And at that time, you were still just with your mother and sister?
Correct.
Okay. How long did it take? How long did it take to order food?
It took about maybe 10, 15 minutes.
To
It was
order?
pretty crowded. Yes, to get our food. Or to go ahead and place the order, yes. Because there was a lot of people.
Okay, and then how long did it take to get the food?
I would say the same amount, about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Almost there. How long did it take to eat?
Give or take maybe 25, 30 minutes.
And all this time, was the restaurant still pretty crowded, or did it lessen?
Yes.
Yes, it was crowded.
Yes.
Was it packed?
Really packed. There was a line outside.
Now, I've never been there, but is it windows
Yes.
outside?
Yes, sir.
So you can see the people outside waiting.
Correct.
So around what time do you think you finished eating?
I would say give or take maybe like around, I don't know, 11:30, 11:45, 12-ish. I'm not sure. I can't recall. It was pretty late though.
Is it usual for you guys to eat so late?
No, not that late. No.
So why would you finish so late?
I mean, just given the time that, we went out and getting there, just having to wait, the long line, limited waitresses. So, I mean, it kind of took a while.
Did you and your mom and sister did you guys usually do girls' nights?
I mean, here and there, because at that time I was living in Garland, so wasn't really allowed to go out. So, just here and there.
It was nice to get out with your mother.
Yes, definitely. My mom and my sister.
Okay, so during that meal, did anything eventful happen?
No, everything was good.
And did anyone ask you to leave?
No,
Did you get into any disagreements with staff prior to the end of the meal?
no,
Did you have any issues with any other patrons or customers?
no,
The waitress, did you recognize her?
no, I did not.
Did she recognize you all?
No,
But when you go, usually, do they know your orders by heart?
pretty much.
So most of the staff would recognize you when you go.
Correct,
But this night, it was a staff member that you didn't recognize.
correct.
Okay, then, so the end of the meal happens. What happens next when you guys are done eating?
So I go ahead and request for the tab. So we finished eating. Okay, let me back up. We finished eating and I raised my hand. I let the waitress know that I wanted the bill. So she said that she was gonna come get it. And that time she brought the tortillas, which, I mean, we were already done. And so after that, when she brought us a tab, she told us to go ahead and dispute the tab because we weren't gonna pay for the tortilla since we were already done eating. And at that time, my mom and my sister were gonna go to the counter to go ahead and take off the tortillas that were added to the bill. And I went outside.
You went outside.
Yes, I went
Why
outside
did you go outside?
because I got a phone call.
Who'd you get a phone call from?
My ex.
So let's just recap. They charge you for the tortillas and the waitress said, take it to the cashier to be handled?
To go ahead and take it off.
Take it off. Did she give you any instructions on how to take it off?
No, she just said, go ahead and take it to the cashier and have her take it off.
Now, I've never been to El Paisanos. Do you usually pay at your table or do you pay at the cashier?
You pay at the cashier.
So the waitress brings you your tab, you go to the cashier.
Correct.
Now, up until this point, how was your mother acting?
She was fine.
Was she angry with anyone?
No.
Was she belligerent?
No.
Was she calm?
Yes.
Was she happy to be with her daughters?
Of course.
I mean, in speaking to the waitress, was your mom rude?
No.
How was her tone?
Normal. She just said that, she was fine. I mean, she wasn't yelling at her. She wasn't being rude or obnoxious. She was fine, talking to her normal.
All right, so what did you see next?
So, I mean, like I said, after that, I went outside and they both headed towards the cashier. And that's the last thing I remember seeing until when I got off the car, that's when I had seen the cashier go like this to Tovar. And so I kind of stood and I told my ex, hey, I have to go because it kind of looked not like a good situation. So I went ahead and disconnected the call with him. So I kind of stood up and as I was watching, there was like a wall in my angle. So I could just see my sister and half of my mom. And then that's when Tovar came, but where he was standing on the side of my mom, I cannot see him at all. And it looks like they were there for a good minute. So I went ahead and shut my door and I stepped up towards the door by the windows of the restaurant.
So you're standing at your car at the time?
Yes,
I mean, were people kind of crowding out of the way? How did you see this commotion?
because where I was sitting, there's a clear window, a long clear window. So I could see everything inside of the restaurant. So Tovar, I can see where Tovar was, and he was at the other side of the door. And he was standing right there. And on the other side was my mom and my sister at the cashier box with the lady. So
Right, Your Honor, may I do a quick screen share?
Sure.
Presenting, Your Honor, this is a Google Street View, and I could pull it up on Google if we need to confirm it, of 2911 Lombardi, and this is under Plaintiff's Exhibit 10. Ms. Hernandez, do you recognize this photo?
yes,
Can you tell me what you see in this photo?
it's the restaurant. Both
This
the
is
restaurants.
Casano's, where the events occurred?
Yes,
And in your recollections, is a fair and accurate depiction of what the restaurant looks like?
correct.
And in this photo, can you see where you were standing or where
Yes,
you-
so my car was actually where that little black car is.
here on the right? Can you see my
Yes,
mouse?
on the right. Yeah, so, well, okay there. My car was actually right here. So as I was sitting here, I could see inside.
Ms. Hernandez, I
Uh-huh.
can't see where you're pointing. Do you mind using, can you see my mouse on the screen or no?
Yes,
Was it this car?
no, all the way, yeah, right there, that black car. I was parked actually right there.
Okay, so real quick, Your Honor, plaintiff would like to enter in Exhibit 10, which is a Google Street View of the restaurant.
Any objection?
Your Honor, I thought that was already admitted, but no objections.
You objected to it earlier, Mr.
I
Banks.
think you objected to it earlier.
So you were standing here where this black car is in this photo, correct?
Correct.
Can you tell us, and I'll point with my mouse, where you were kind of looking in the windows were here where it says tortillas?
Yeah, so you see that, okay, right next to your mouse, you see how there's that pillar?
This one on the right?
No, the one to the left.
Okay,
So
here.
there's, yeah, so if you disregard that pillar, that whole stretch of window, it's nothing but window. That pillar stands outside of the window. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so where I was standing, you
Mhm.
can see everything. It's a long stretch of window and then the door right there.
All right, Your Honor, well, again, I think I did I ask for Exhibit 10 to be admitted, correct?
You did, and I admitted it. Exhibit
Thank you.
10 is admitted.
And I'm gonna, oh, wow. It looks like Google updated their website, but let me share my screen here. This is a Google Street View of the restaurant. Is this here where, where that, is this the pillar here with the gray box? Is that the pillar you're referring to?
Correct.
And this is this the door that that Tovar pulled your mother out of?
Correct.
So you were standing, were you parked here, you think where the blue car is or the red one?
I would say man. Oh, can you turn it more?
Yeah, let me move it here a little bit.
Oh, that's,
Here? Yeah, this is a handicap spot. so
yeah. So it'd be right there.
Okay, so where did Mr. Tovar, where did he pull your mother out of? This door, you said,
Yes.
correct? And then what did you see?
When he came, so as soon as I seen him coming, I kind of stood to the side of the pillar. So I went from my car to the side to see what, I was kind of peeking in, trying to see what was going on. And when I seen them, I went ahead and disconnected my phone and I stood right by the door, the entrance of the door. I was standing right there, and that's when they came out. They both came out, and he had her on the side of the arm, like really aggressively. And next thing you know, he slammed her on the ground, like
How did he
with full
slam
force.
her?
And like he literally grabbed her from the side like this, took her out. Like she was already halfway out when he came out, and he just like basically like slammed her on the ground. And before he did that, she was like, what the hell, like what's going on? And he like basically slammed her on the ground. If you've ever seen Tovar, this is a big dude. He's maybe give or take maybe like 6 feet tall. He's huge, body wise as well. My mom's only like 5 foot, and he literally like slammed my mom to the ground. And I was just like, what the hell are you doing? And I couldn't even get to my mom. Like, I was like, Mom, are you okay? And he literally threatened me. He was like, get away, like, I'm gonna arrest you. Like, I felt so bad, and I get so upset thinking about it, because like, I can't even help my mom. Like, you literally threw my mom to the ground, and like, he didn't even care. Like, I felt so helpless. I felt helpless as a daughter, seeing my own mom get thrown to the ground like that. Like, my mom didn't do nothing. She didn't hit him. She didn't like resist anything. And just to be threatened that you're gonna arrest me just because I'm trying to help my mom from the ground and make sure she's okay. She didn't even move when he threw her down. And then that's when the other girl came, and he called backup. And this girl came, a security guard, a lady security guard came, and she literally put my mom in handcuffs. And like, I couldn't even get near her. I couldn't like touch her or ask her like, are you okay?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to non-response. I think that's been a narrative right now, not an answering question. Did you hear
I think it was responsive. I'm going to overrule it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you? How do you recall him throwing her to the ground? I mean, did he lift her in the air? Can you feel?
He like forcefully like I would say body slam her with the full force that he has, being a big dude. Like, he literally aggressively, forcefully like threw my mom down. Like,
Did her feet leave the ground?
I'm sorry?
Did her feet leave the ground?
Yes.
Did you hear anything? Did you hear
yes,
her?
I heard her head hit the ground.
Were there people outside?
No, it was just Tovar, my mom, me, and my sister.
So where was everyone lined up to get into the restaurant? On the other door?
On the other side, yes.
So then what happened? I mean, you testified that he threatened you all and he called for backup. What happened next?
So he went ahead. So the lady, she ended up putting my mom in handcuffs, and like everything happened so quick. We ended up being from that side of the restaurant literally to the other side where the line was. So you know where my car was parked? Mm-hmm. If you go a little bit to the far right there's like a right there where the orange milk, whatever thing that is, where the newsletters are, right there. Yeah, so we ended up in front of that pillar to the right.
Over here, where the screen.
But she was on the tile.
How did her body get from here to there?
To be honest, I cannot recall because it happened so fast. I just remember all of us being there and ended up on the other side.
And where was your sister?
By then, I had told her to go ahead and start recording. She was right there with us.
And this is a screenshot from the video. We're going to admit it already. But is this the partner you're referring to,
yes.
Anna Kazan?
Yes, sir.
Frank Tovar?
Yes.
So when he yelled at you to get back, what happened after that?
Well, I had no choice but to stay away. Like I said, I mean, there was just a lot of arguing and going back and forth with, the female cop, with Tovar, him not letting me or my sister get near my mom. Like I said, I can't recall because everything just happened so quickly. I just remember being on that side, ending up on the other side, and she was still in handcuffs. And after I think when we got near, that's when the female officer or security guard was getting more agitated because I was trying to help my mom. She ended up pepper spraying us.
Wait, what? You were pepper sprayed?
Yes, I was. I guess she was aiming for my mom, which at that time she couldn't even move. She ended up pepper spraying my mom, and I was right next to her. I got pepper sprayed myself, and she ended up pepper spraying Tovar and my sister as well. I guess, I don't know, she just went like this, like she wasn't focused. We all got pepper sprayed.
Now, was your mom handcuffed at this time or
Yes.
not yet?
No, she was in handcuffs.
She was not or was?
She was.
So back up then for a second. Before she was handcuffed, I feel like we missed something. So Tovar body slams her. What happened? And does he punch her? Does he kick her? What happens next?
Well, he was trying to detain my mom while he was waiting for the female officer to get to him. So when I say detain, he put his knee on my mom's chest. Again, more than half his weight is on my mom's chest. Like I said, this is a big dude, weight-wise, tall-wise. He had his knee on my mom's chest while the female came and put her in handcuffs.
The female put your mom in handcuffs or Tovar?
From what I recall, it was the female.
Did Tovar pepper spray anybody?
No, it was only the female officer.
So why do you recall him calling for backup?
Yeah, that's backup. By backup, I mean the girl, the female.
Did he have a microphone on?
No, he yelled for her. He was yelling for her because she was standing on the other side.
Okay, let's
not too far.
So let's look at that video. It's in evidence. I believe it's Exhibit 2. Now, is this you holding your mom's head up?
Yes.
How long between she was slammed on the ground to this moment? How much time went by?
I would say about, oh my gosh. I can't recall. I mean, everything happened real fast.
Did Tovar threaten to arrest you?
Yes. Me and my sister.
I mean, how was his demeanor though afterwards? Was he calm? Was he anxious? What do you recall?
When the paramedics got there?
Prior to that?
Prior to that, he was aggressive. He was yelling at us.
And then when the paramedics got there?
Well, when the paramedics got there, he acted like nothing happened. He was standing there being quiet, like acting like nothing happened.
So in this video, you and your sister, I believe, are speaking.
Yes, we were.
Did the paramedics speak with you other than this moment? Did you have a one-on-one with them?
He asked what her name was, if she had an ID, what the situation was that had occurred. And from there, I mean, that's all I can recall, honestly.
Did they speak with Tovar one-on-one?
They did speak with him.
Did they speak with him for quite a while, or was it also very brief?
With the paramedics, he spoke with them pretty brief. At that time, that was before the cops ended up showing up.
Who called the police, you know?
I called the cops.
And what did you tell the police?
I told the cops the situation with Tovar slammed my mom to the ground.
And did they speak with you in depth about what happened?
No.
Did they speak to your sister?
No.
Did they speak with Tovar?
Yes, and the female officer or security guard.
They speak with them for a lot longer than they spoke with you, or?
Correct. They barely even spoke to us.
Was Tovar wearing, it looks like in this photo or in the video that he's wearing, I guess what you could say is maybe a uniform, or?
Yeah, I thought he was a cop, honestly. He had a badge on and everything.
So here in this photo, or which is a snip, I think, of that video, you thought he was a police officer.
Correct.
Did he represent himself as a police officer?
No.
But he did say he would threaten you, or he would
Yes.
arrest you.
Correct.
Now, did anyone from the restaurant come outside or say anything?
No.
None of the staff members?
Nobody.
Did any of the patrons come out?
No.
And this entire time, after your mother was slammed to the ground, did she get up and attack anybody?
No.
Did she scream?
No.
And before she was slammed to the ground, was she screaming threats at people?
No.
Was she being a danger to anybody?
No.
I mean, it's your mother. Has she ever been violent?
No.
So Tovar, did he let you get, how much time went between him slamming her on the ground to letting you help her?
I would say like give or take anywhere from like 5 to 7 minutes.
And did he have anything out? Did he aim anything at you and your sister?
He personally did not. No, he did not point anything towards us.
So the other guard, Anna Obregon, did?
Yes,
What did she point at you?
the pepper spray.
So how much time between your mom being slammed on the ground to the paramedics arriving passed?
I mean, it felt like forever, but I honestly, I can't recall.
Did you request for him to remove the handcuffs from her prior to the video?
Prior to the video?
Yes. Did you request for him to remove the handcuffs?
Oh man. Honestly, I can't remember. I don't remember.
Did you even ask them why did you handcuff her?
Yes, I did.
And did they say anything to you?
Nope, they ignored me.
So I mean, in that 5 to 7 minutes, what was said?
I mean, we were trying to go ahead and get aid to my mom. Like we were trying to help her, and both of them, they did not want to go ahead and let us help my mom. Like sometimes they were ignoring us. Like I said, like I know I did go ahead and tell them, you know, why they handcuffed her, why'd you put handcuffs on her, and they just ignored me like nothing. And you know, they were talking amongst themselves, Tovar and the female, they were talking among themselves, having their own conversation. They were yelling at us, me and my sister, because we were trying to help my mom still. So I mean, there was a lot going on.
And what did you tell the cops when they arrived?
I mean, I did go ahead and tell them the incident, but they didn't let me go into detail. I let them know it's about the tortillas, to go ahead and have that taken off, that, you know, we weren't going to pay for something, you know, and they didn't want to hear nothing. They just basically dismissed it and went on to the Tovar and the lady.
And how many minutes do you think they were speaking with Tovar and the lady?
I think they were talking to them, give or take about, they were with them for a good minute. I don't know, I'd say give or take maybe like 7 to 10 minutes.
The police were speaking with Tovar for about 7 to 10 minutes.
Yes, with the Tovar and the girl.
And how long do you think the paramedics spoke with Tovar and the girl?
The paramedics spoke to Tovar and the girl, not that long. I think it was like maybe a few minutes, maybe like 4 minutes. I honestly can't recall.
And then also here in this photo, why are you pouring water on your mom's face here?
Because she couldn't breathe. She was getting her panic attack. And I was trying to wash the pepper spray out of her eye. So I had a bottle of water in my car. And I went ahead and I grabbed it and I was just pouring it on her, just telling her everything was gonna be okay. Like, just feel so bad for her. Like, she was handcuffed. She had pepper spray. Like, they didn't. I just don't know why they did that. Like, this is over some tortillas. Like, they just went to the extreme. Like, who does that to people? I was just trying to help my mom. That's why I poured the water.
Now, was your mom taken by the ambulance from the restaurant?
To be honest with you, I was recording the police officers with Tovar and the girl that I did not get to see what happened. I just seen that before I started recording them, they went ahead and got near my mom. They were trying to talk to her. I just see my mom nodding at them, and that's when I left. So because they were with my mom, I mean, I just expected she was going to be in good hands, so I didn't pay attention to what happened after that. I just know when I got done recording them, my mom was already in the back of the ambulance.
How much time went by from the slam until she was taken away, body slam until she was taken away in the ambulance?
I don't know. I can't recall. I don't know.
And then after this, how did you see a change in your mom?
But yes,
What changes did you see?
she just like she couldn't remember things. She can't taste. She can't smell. My son bought my mom a candle, and he was like, "Grandma's gonna love this candle because it smells so good." And my mom does sugar cookies, and he was like, "I got this candle for Grandma," and he told my mom, he was like, "Grandma, smell it. Doesn't it smell so good?" And my mom has to lie, because of course she can't smell, like, and I know, like, I feel bad knowing that she can't smell or taste, like, it's just, it's changed her. It has changed her.
Is your mother forgetful?
Yes.
How so?
For my daughter's birthday, I had told her that we were gonna go ahead and do her birthday, so we're gonna do her birthday next weekend. And she was like, okay. And when that weekend came, I got my daughter balloons and everything. I decorated for her party, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Remember, it's Anna's birthday." And she was like, "Oh, you're doing the birthday party today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I told you last week." She's like, "Oh my God, I cannot remember. I'm sorry." Like, and it's just like things that, you would think somebody would remember. And with her, like, she's very forgetful. Like, she forgets a lot of things.
I mean, that's forgetting a birthday party. What about day to day?
Oh yeah, even driving. Sometimes you don't remember how to get from point A to point B, and like just your daily duties. I mean, there's some things that are so simple that she forgets, and I feel real bad for her.
If I could do another screen share with you. You said you took a short video, correct?
Correct.
That video. This is the same video over and over here, but is this the video that's produced? This is the video, correct?
Correct.
Is it possible to see anything?
Mm-hmm.
What do you see in that video?
Tovar. I think that is Tovar.
I'm sorry, Judge. Mr. Rafael, is this an exhibit?
No,
Do you mind not showing it until it's been admitted?
not admitting it as an exhibit.
Pardon me?
Not admitting it as an exhibit.
Is this this is a different video than the one before?
Yeah, it's not clear. So I just need to show that she took an unclear video because she just testified to showing a video.
I would object to it being presented at court before it's been admitted,
Okay, then we'll scratch the video then, Your Honor. It's all right.
because I don't know which one.
It's not relevant in that regard. But back to your relationship with your mother. And I'll probably come back to that video. I just want to finish regarding on your mother. Back to your relationship with your mother. I mean, has it affected your relationship with her? You were talking about with your children, forgetting birthdays, but anything else?
I mean, as far as I know, I mean, just like I said, she just forgets a lot of things, daily things. Sometimes like the times that we're supposed to get together as a family and who's gonna do what for like certain occasions. I mean, just normal things she just forgets. Like the taste of her taste buds as well, like she can't taste, and like she's literally.
Objection calls for speculation. I don't think she can testify whether her mother can taste or not.
She can't taste or smell.
My objection is that she cannot testify to as a matter of fact. Ms.
Overruled, but I think it's ask and answer. I think she's already said this.
A few more questions. Your mother also testified she was involved in a car accident or fell out of a vehicle about a year prior to this incident. Do you recall that?
Unfortunately, I do not recall. I just know that there was an accident that had occurred.
Now, do you know, in your opinion, did it change her after that accident? Better?
I rarely saw her. Like I said, prior to this incident, I rarely saw my mom, and I was lucky if I saw her maybe like once. I'm pushing it at twice a month, so I honestly can't even answer that question.
Did y'all speak on the phone prior to this?
Here and there, not as often.
And just last question about her memory. In your normal, regular conversations with her, can she not just recall basically what you guys spoke about previously?
Nope.
All right, Mr. Payman, do you have any cross?
If I may, Your Honor. Miss Summer, may I call you Summer Rose?
However you like, Summer Rose.
Because I always get you mistaken with your sister. I think that happened during that position. So you
Yes.
got your name down there, so I know you're Summer Rose. If the court would allow me, it's easier for me just to call her Summer Rose if the court and Mr. Raphael don't mind.
That's fine.
Thanks, Judge. Summer Rose, do you remember you and I met one time before, correct?
Correct.
And I think we met at Mr. Raphael's office when I took your deposition. I don't remember the date, but I believe it was in February of this year.
Correct.
So about 10 months ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we talked about how often you would see your mother prior to the El Paisano incident. And I believe you testified again that you would see her basically once or twice a month because you had your own life and you live in Garland, correct?
Correct.
So even though you're mother and daughter, and I'm sure you're very close and you love each other, but because of distance and work obligations, you would not get to see your mother that often.
Correct.
Then let's talk about the incident that I think you know about in 2016 when your mother sustained some head injury that we already been through. I don't know if you saw it or not, but the head injury that she sustained in October of 2016. Okay. The documents that we already showed the court showed that she had a significant fracture to her skull and a number of issues related to her head and brain. You know anything about that?
Okay. So like I had told you previously in the deposition, all I had known is that she had an accident. Because I had my own life going on, she would not disclose certain things. And that was one of the things. She never went into details as to that accident.
That wasn't my question. I was just trying to confirm that you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I understand. I just know it was an accident, but I didn't know it was like head injuries and what you just said. What that word you just said right now?
Skull fracture.
Yes, that. Sorry, I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So you were never told by your mother or your father or your sister that your mother had sustained a significant skull fracture and injuries to her, traumatic head injury back in October 31st of 2016. Would that be a fair statement?
Correct.
So during the times that you would go and visit her once or twice a month, did you ever see her bandaged up, or did you ever go to the hospital to see her when this happened?
Yes. Like I said in the deposition, when I seen her in the hospital, I did see some cuts and scratches on her.
Okay.
But I don't know the details in regards to that. After that, I did go ahead and seen her. I did see her, but I never seen anything out of the ordinary to where I'm like, what's going on with you, or what happened?
Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. Now, we already established that as a result of that same accident, your mother fractured her pelvis. You know what the pelvis is?
Correct.
You do understand. Have you ever seen somebody with a fractured pelvis?
No.
Do you know if they're able to move and walk about, or if it's painful or anything of that sort? Have you ever heard anything?
No.
So during the times you went back home, was your mom sitting down, laying down, or anything that would indicate maybe she's in pain? I'm talking about the 2016.
So in that time when I would see her, it was always like when I would go maybe for like 30 minutes, but the times that I would go into her house, she was already sleeping, or she just woke up, or she was just laying in bed.
Okay. Did you ever see her being active, like being able to pick up stuff? I'm talking right after the 2016 incident, if she was able to function properly, or was there something that your mother could not do?
I mean, we've had a few barbecues and she was fine.
Yeah. And was it shortly after the 2016, end of October 2016, where you had these barbecues?
I would say probably, yeah, like in November, because I know we had, I believe we did Thanksgiving there for maybe like an hour, and then we went to my ex-fiance's house, to his family's.
Did your sister ever tell you, or did you ever find out how your mother's injuries occurred in 2016?
No.
Did you ever ask, did you ever try to find out what happened to mom?
No, I mean, to me, because I never seen nothing out of the ordinary or something that I would question, I just never asked.
I think you testified earlier that you went to see her at the hospital where you saw some scratches on her, right?
Correct, and I said that in the deposition.
Yeah, yes, you did. So I'm just curious, because if my mother is in the hospital after an accident, I would want to know what happened. Didn't you want to know what happened to her?
Correct. I mean, like I said, I had my own life going on. I was going through my ex-fiance cheating on me, having another kid behind my back. I had a lot going on, working full time. And I don't think my mom wanted to hurt me and add, this as a cherry on top and be like, oh, well, Summer, look, this is what is going on with me now. Like, that's something more that I would have to worry about.
And I can appreciate a mother wanting to protect her child. And that wasn't my question. My question was, that you've been informed that your mother's in the hospital after an incident.
Exactly. Right? I understand.
So then she goes, and then you go and visit her. I think you said once or twice. You never asked what happened?
Correct. And she would not tell me.
That's fine. What about when she fell and fractured? Do you know if she fell down and fractured her pelvis again in 2018?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Do you know if she was hospitalized with a brain stroke in 2018?
I didn't even know.
Okay. So nobody ever told you about that stuff?
No.
Okay. Just want to recap some of the testimony you said. I want to make sure I heard you correctly, because I'm listening at the same time reading. Sometimes I get confused which one it is. So I want to make sure. You did say that you all went to the mall, came back home, had a couple of drinks, right? Correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said you, your mom, and Monique, I think that's your sister's name, correct?
Correct.
Then you all left and went to Players, correct?
Correct.
And then you had 2 or 3 other more drinks over there in the 2.5 hours that you were there, right?
Correct.
And then you went to El Paisano about 11:30. Took you all about an hour to wait and get a table, right?
Correct.
And then another hour to eat.
Correct.
Right? So if I'm counting correctly, that would put us around 1 o'clock in the morning of the 19th, right?
Okay.
And I already showed your mother the dispatch sheet where it shows when the EMS arrived. And let me just show it to you, if I may. I'm just trying to get this. This timing has bothered me for a long time. May I share the screen, Your Honor?
May.
All right. This is already in evidence. So EMS received a call at 2:49, roughly 2:50 in the morning.
Okay.
So that's when somebody calls 911 and says, we got a problem. That's when they receive the call, correct?
Okay.
Can you tell the judge what happened between 1 o'clock when you all finished eating until, let's say, 2:15 or 2:30? Let's assume there was a delay in contacting the police. In that hour and a half that you all would have finished eating, what were you doing at El Paisano?
We went to have a girls' night, had a late night dinner, and, because of the dispute with the tortillas, it ended up where Tovar ended up slamming my mom to the ground, and we couldn't help my mom, me and my sister.
Objection non-responsive. That was not my question.
Yeah.
My question was, you, by your testimony and timeline you gave us, you finished eating at 1 o'clock and, after all the things that we talked about, 1 o'clock. So if 1 o'clock is when your mother gets escorted out.
Objection. She didn't specifically say 1 o'clock, Your Honor.
We can do the timing again if you want. I just didn't want to waste the court's time.
No,
I think is the court aware of the timeline, Judge, or do you want me to?
I'm perfectly aware of the timeline,
Okay.
so you can keep asking her, but.
All right, that's fine. Thank you, Judge. Now, when the paramedics got there, did you talk to the paramedics, you said?
Yes, a little bit.
And I think during your deposition, you said that the paramedics were talking to your mom, so you knew that she's okay, she's in their good hands, so you went and started videotaping. Is that correct?
In the deposition, I did say that they were talking to her. I didn't hear her vocally saying stuff to the paramedics, but I did see her nodding, is what I said in the deposition.
Correct. So there was communication, let's call it communication, between your mother and the paramedics when the paramedics were on the scene.
I mean, if that's what you want to call it.
Well, nodding is a form of communication.
Okay. Okay.
So they were asking your question and she was nodding yes or no.
Correct.
Okay. Let me call that communication. Okay. So there was communication as I define it between your mother and the paramedics before they put in the ambulance, right?
Okay.
Now, did you also see her speak or communicate as I described communication with the police officers?
I was not there. I mean, I don't recall.
You don't recall. That's fair if you don't recall. Okay. After the 2016 incident, did your mother appear normal?
To me, yes.
Okay. You did not notice anything with her that would have said, hey, Mom, is everything okay or not?
Correct.
Before the 2016 incident, did your mom have seizure issues where she would have seizures?
Not that I could recall.
I mean, growing up with her, you don't remember having seizures?
I mean, if she did, I didn't see it. Like I said, I can't recall. I don't know.
That's fine. And then after the 2016 incident, did she have seizures?
I know she did have in 2016.
End of 2000.
No, in 2017 with the situation with Tovar.
So it's your testimony that after the incident with Tovar is the first time that your mother had seizures?
If I can recall correctly, yes.
So to the best of your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. Because you were not living at home?
Correct.
Right, okay. Now, do you know if your mother sustained the 2016 injury because your dad opened the door and pushed her out of the car or not?
Okay, like I said, it was an incident that I just was told, was never told anything about my dad pushing her or her throwing herself out. I don't know. I don't know the details.
Did you hear both of those possibilities?
I mean, I'm just saying as a possibility. I don't know.
Because I never mentioned her jumping out of the car. You mentioned this. I want to know if you had heard that possibility from someone else.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, you're making it seem like I'm supposed to know something. I don't know.
So you have absolutely no idea how your mother sustained the traumatic head injury she got in 2016.
Correct.
Your Honor, asked and answered.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Did you ever go with your mother to any of her doctor appointments? You know, since she can't see, she can't drive, she's forgetful.
No.
Did you ever have to come to the house to help her with her chores?
No.
And I hate to ask this question because your mother's staring at me, but does your mother keep a pretty clean house?
I'm sorry?
Does your mother keep a pretty clean house? Is she one of those clean freak people, or is she just one of the ones who just throws everything around?
I mean, from the times that I would go over, yes, the house was clean.
House clean. Does your mother have a maid?
I wish. No, she does not.
Okay. So she basically does everything she needs to do as far as cleaning, cooking, everything, even when she used to live with you all up until now, correct?
I mean, as far as I know, yes. I mean, could have got help from my dad. I don't know.
Well, your mom doesn't live with your dad, correct?
At that time, 2016.
No, I'm talking about now.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I thought we're still talking about 2016.
My mistake. I apologize. Maybe I confused you. After the I'm talking about after the El Paisano situation. So let's just say, have you gone to your mother's house in the past, let's say 6 months?
No.
Have you gone to your mother's house in the past year?
Yes.
And so the questions I asked you about the house being clean and her doing the cooking, she's a pretty clean person, isn't she?
Yes. Times that I've seen, yes.
Yeah. And she has no maid in the past year or two that you know?
No.
Okay.
No.
And now she has a roommate she lives with, correct?
Correct.
Have you ever met that gentleman?
Unfortunately, I have not.
Do you know who he is?
I do not.
Okay. Now, in the past year that you...
About a roommate.
Pardon me?
I don't even know anything about a roommate. I do know that you guys followed her for the past 2 weeks, but I don't even know anything about a roommate. So where's this going? Because there's nothing in evidence about that.
I just asked her if he lives with a roommate, and she says she doesn't know.
You said, do you know your mother's roommate?
Okay.
No.
Do you know if your mother has a roommate?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just answering.
Because you have not been there for the past year, right? You said?
Yeah, I mean, the times that I've gone this past year, it's only been her, and the house has been clean.
Okay, so you do go to her house. Does she come? You still live with your dad, by the way, don't you?
Correct. Yes, I do.
And that's the Louisville address.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is it normal for your mom to come out there on the weekends to visit?
I mean, unless it's something that's like if I need, for some reason, I can't get off work and I don't have no one to pick up my son or my daughter from the daycare. I mean, that's the only time that I would call her.
But did she come to visit this past weekend?
Not that I can recall. No.
Were you home this past weekend?
Was I home this weekend?
Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, I was home. Yeah, no, she wasn't here.
She didn't come to your house?
No.
She didn't come to the Louisville house?
Correct.
Okay, all right. I don't know if I asked you or not, back in February of when I took your deposition, and again, I may have you confused with your sister Monique. I think you look alike, and sometimes I just get confused. So
you're fine.
I think I asked one of you in February if your mother was employed, and I think it was you that says, yes, she's got a job now. Do you remember that?
No, that was not me.
It may not have been you. Let me see if I can find a deposition. But let me ask you this. Do you know if your mother has a job?
No, she's not. She don't have a job.
You know when the last time your mother worked was?
I cannot recall.
Right. If I gave you a name of some places that she worked, would you know it?
To be honest with you, I can't even remember my dad's job, and I know he's been there years. I don't know.
Then you're not the right person.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is your mother, from what you've seen, able to, like when she goes grocery shopping? Have you ever seen her go grocery shopping?
I actually have not.
Okay.
I need to go though.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what you know about her activities. Had you ever seen her have a seizure before El Paisano?
To be honest with you, I cannot recall.
Okay, that's fine. That's great. Um,
Or can I get a water?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like my mouth is like super dry.
so is
I see.
mine, but I can't find my water.
Mr. Paymer, are you almost done?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm almost done with
And I
this.
have just 2 follow-up questions, Your Honor.
Thank Now, you don't have any background in any kind of medical, you don't have any medical training, whether as a nurse, as any type of medical training, do you?
No.
No?
No.
So you're not able to diagnose anything that your mom may be suffering from just from observation?
No.
And you have never gone to any of her doctors to hear what her medical conditions may be?
Correct.
Okay. The only thing that you said is you think that you believe she's lost her sense of smell and taste since the El Paisano situation.
Correct. And her memory loss. Yes.
And memory loss, and not before that.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, just very brief follow-up questions. No, Summer.
Oh, I thought we were done. Oh, am I? I need some water.
I forgot something very quickly. You're not done, Summer. Let me share my screen. Did you ever go back to El Paisanos after the incident?
Yes, I did.
Why did you go back?
Well, I was pregnant and I was craving a taco from there.
I understand. I got 3 kids.
Sorry.
I get it. So let me share my screen here.
Okay, thank you.
This photo, did you take this photo of, is this Mr. Frank Tovar in this photo?
Yes.
And did you take this photo?
Yes.
Did you take this photo on November 24th, 2018?
I think it was, when did I have her? Hold on, I'm trying to think. Yes, I did.
Okay. Your Honor, this is a part of exhibit, I believe part of exhibit 1. No? Yeah, I believe just part of exhibit 1.
What I would suggest you do is number these exhibits, all the photos, 1A through how many other photos you have, because Mr. Payma hasn't agreed to the introduction of these. We're going to have to prove them up each individually. So,
so I'll call this 1B since I've done the video.
well, the video was not 1. The video was 2.
All right, 2. So I'll call this, I did 1 photo. Okay, 1A. This is photo 1A. I'd like to make this into evidence, Your Honor, as exhibit 1A, which is a photo of Frank Carlos Tovar.
No objections, Your Honor.
Okay. I will say that in your notebook, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos, and this is the 6th photo in the notebook. So are you still, these are all different pictures of Mr. Tovar.
So should I call this 1F, Your Honor? So the 6th photo?
I guess. But Tony, I just want to make sure it's clear to you. Do you have the same notebook that I do?
I don't believe I do, Judge, but I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to look today.
Okay. All right. So this will be 1F, and 1F will be admitted.
Your Honor. So when you went back to El Paisanos November 24th, 2018, almost a year and a half after the incident, Mr. Tovar was still there?
Yes.
Was he there as a patron, or did it look like he was working?
He was working.
Was he wearing anything that showed that he was doing security?
He had like a, you know how the cops have like is it a holster? Like the thing that goes around
Yeah.
their waist? Yes, that's what he had. I'm sorry?
Did you see a gun on his waist?
It looked like underneath the jacket from the angle that I had seen, the object did appear to be a gun, or it looked like one.
And then at the night of the incident,
Mm-hmm.
August 18th, August 19th, 2017, did you see if Mr. Tovar had a gun on him then?
He also had the same actual holster on as well. And it did look like the object did look like a gun as well that night.
And do you know if Miss Obregon had a gun on her at that night, August 18th?
She did have a holster as well. To be honest with you, I cannot recall if she had one.
Okay. And then last question, the night of the incident, it brings us here. Were you wearing a watch that evening?
A watch? Not that I could recall. I don't remember.
So you didn't keep
Maybe I was.
detailed notes of where you were that night until the incident, is that correct?
Correct. I didn't have no watch. I don't think so.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms.
Thank-
Hernandez.
I can leave now, like this way. Thank you.
Right, Mr. Payman, did you have any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
This witness is excused. Let's go back to the plaintiff. I think we're in the middle of cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. And I've got to get back to where I was. Oh, she used to be down in the bottom. Now she's up there. So I was looking for Miss Martinez. Miss Martinez, good afternoon. You got to unmute your microphone.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Martinez, I think we left off talking about the EMS report and the Parkland Hospital report. You remember that?
Yes.
Let's talk about Dr. Cantrell.
Okay.
Dr. Cantrell, I believe you testified she was a neurologist, correct?
Yes.
Now, this incident happened on August 19, 2017. And you did not leave the hospital to at least 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, correct?
I believe, I don't recall the time.
Yeah. But the first visit you had with Dr. Cantrell was on August 31st. My question is, did you make that appointment to see Dr. Cantrell before August 19th or after August 19th?
I don't recall, sir.
But because of the other issues that you had resulting from the 2016 issues, you were under doctor's care, Dr. Mint, and different doctors, correct?
I know it was under Dr. Mint. She's my primary. Yes, sir.
Now, on August 31st, when you went to see Dr. Mint, I assume just like any other doctor, they take they ask you questions about your history and they try to understand what your lifestyle is, your medical conditions are, and so forth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And you tell them everything you've got and why you're there to see them. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, may I share the screen, Your Honor?
You may.
Now, is it your testimony, before I do that, let me ask you this. Is it your testimony that you went to see Dr. Cantrell, but you don't remember if you made the appointment before or after the incident, right? That's what you just testified to.
I don't recall, sir.
Okay, all right. Now let's do this. All right. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about this. Again, you're not a doctor, so I'm not going to ask for medical terminology, all right? I'm looking at this report, and I believe, Your Honor, I don't know what number this is, but I believe this is my defense exhibit 5.
Okay.
Can you see this, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you see that it's dated August 31st, 2017?
Yes.
And it's addressed to Doc Twinkle Mint, that's your PCP provider?
Yes.
Okay. And Dr. Zubin Kuchbanchani, right?
Yes.
Now, were you seeing Dr. Kupchandani before August 19th as your neuro?
No, he's an orthopedist.
He's an orthopedist. Were you seeing him before the August 19th?
No.
Okay. So you would have seen him after August the 19th?
Before the incident happened, yes, sir.
Now, this is what's in evidence already. And I've highlighted the portion.
We're talking in regards to the incident, right?
Pardon me?
We're talking in regards to the incident.
I'm talking about the medical records now.
I can read this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And can you see my my pointer or my mouse?
Yes,
pointer?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what's a good place to start. Let's start here. Do you
Okay.
see where it says, she said, this is Dr. Cantrell's notes from talking to you. It says, she said, she being you, she kept telling the EMT that she could not breathe, that she needed something minimally oxygen to breathe. But she said they continued not to give her care. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Did you tell Dr. Cantrell that?
I don't recall. I mean, if she put that in there, I mean,
She wasn't there with you in the ambulance, so how would she know?
right. That's what she put down. I mean,
So would it be fair to assume that that's what because it does say she said, she being you.
if that's what she put down, I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, I know I gave her the medical record, sir. I mean, if she put that down,
Ma'am,
she put it down. I mean,
that's not my question. My question is the record says she said, meaning you, that this is what happened to you. Other than you telling her, can you explain to the court how she would know this?
I don't recall, sir, going that far back is what I'm saying.
And then it goes in quite a bit of detail, and I don't want to waste the court's time reading the whole thing. I assume the court can read it on its own, Judge, or do you want me to go through it?
I can read it, but is there something you want me to focus on?
There will be in a second, but so I just don't want to waste the court's time.
Go ahead.
All right. Do you see where my pointer is right now, ma'am? Here?
Yes.
Okay. Let me read that to you. It says she cannot no longer smell or taste. She has noted an involuntary, uncontrollable tremor at times jerking of her hands. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
She has no prior history of concussion or head injury. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
You see this? She has.
Okay.
She has no prior history of concussion or head injury. Do you see that?
That's what you're reading. Yeah, I see what you're reading there.
But then the next sentence is interesting because it says, this was what the patient told me, which means you told her on August 31st that you did not have any prior history of concussion or head injury. Do you see that? Why would you tell her that?
I don't recall. I mean, I don't know where some of this stuff is coming from, though. I mean,
Are you saying that Dr. Cantrell just came up with stuff and put it in her notes, or you think you may have told her that?
Objection calls for speculation.
Yeah, I think that calls for speculation.
Did you tell, yes, Your Honor, did you tell her that you had no history of concussion or head injury on August 30th?
Sir, I don't recall. I don't
Objection
recall.
has been answered, Your Honor.
You gotta let me finish the question, otherwise the court reporter can't write it down. So your position is that you don't recall telling her that, right?
Correct.
But you're not denying, you just don't recall.
I don't recall.
Okay, good. And then it says, this was what the patient told me. And then it goes forward, says, I do have medical records from Dr. Mint's office, and they list her problem list to include post-traumatic seizures before the accident, non-traumatic intracranial hemorrhage, fracture of the frontal bone, contusion of the scalp, traumatic intracranial subchoroid hemorrhage, subdural hemorrhage, post-concussion syndrome, fracture of the pelvis, neck pain, and in a portion of the problem list. So even though the report says you did not say any of that to her, she had records that show she had all these problems. Did I read that correctly?
Objection. What's the question? You read a lot of stuff, Your Honor.
Question was, did I read that correctly?
You read a lot.
I'm asking you, what I read was, did I read it correctly?
You read it, so do you have a question?
My question was, did I read it correctly, Judge? If you can say yes or no.
What did he read, Your Honor? He read.
I'll read it again.
2.5 minutes.
I read it again. She has no prior history of concussion or head injury.
Mr. Payma, I get it. She said she didn't have a prior history, and it says here that she does. So apparently she was. I get what you're trying to get at.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, to be fair to you, on that's page 2 that Mr. Raphael was showing, I've highlighted here for ease. It says she could not taste. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
It doesn't say anything about smell, but just says you cannot taste. I'm just asking if that's what it says.
That's what's typed on there. I mean,
It does say that your motor strength is 5 out of 5 in muscle groups tested both proximally and distally. 5 out of 5, correct?
okay.
Your Honor, again, I have to make for the record, Mr. Pema is testifying saying it doesn't say you cannot taste, but it's 3 lines up. Or, I'm sorry, I can't smell, and it was 3 lines above him. He's testifying, Your Honor.
I'm reading the record.
If you read 3 lines up, Mr. Pema, it says the patient said she cannot smell.
You showed that already, but I'm just saying that she could not taste. You're correct.
You just told the court it does not say that.
I withdraw that question. That question. Now let's go to your next visit. I believe is on October the 10th. Correct, ma'am? Do you see that document?
I see the date on there.
Okay. And it says that you went there for follow-up. Am I correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay. Look what it says down here, cranial nerve. What does that say?
Cranial nerves?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, I don't know why she would have put that if I had have gone in there previously.
Ma'am, I'm just asking you to tell the court.
It says normal smell.
Oh, that's fine. Everything else seems to be, do you see here it says no abnormal movements noted?
Right, yes.
Okay. And gait is smooth, regular base? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next follow-up is on November 22nd, correct?
Yes.
And again, he's right. It does say she reports no taste or smell. So we're going back and forth in her report about taste and smell, right?
Right. So I don't know where she's getting information that she is ping pong.
I don't either. I don't either, ma'am. I'm just asking you a question.
Okay. Because the medical records were submitted where she's getting her information and she's putting that information there of that. I don't know.
I understand. And do you see here where it says no bruises noted? And then your gait is still smooth, regular based? Everything seems normal? Other than what's in there?
Means.
Okay, that's fine. I think the court does. Next visit is January 25. And I believe that's your last visit with her, correct?
I guess. I don't recall, I mean, the dates.
All right. Now, at this time, you were still employed with the Texas Orthopedic Institute Surgery or Institute of Orthopedic Surgery, right?
Yes.
And then she sent you for an EEG at that hospital in Flower Mound, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And do you know what the results of the EEG were?
No, so I don't recall.
So you know that you go and do this 3-day test and you never asked what were the results?
Sir, I don't recall. I have memory loss. I'm not normal, sir. I've told you.
That's fine, man. I'm just asking. I'm just curious to know. I think she also wanted you to do, because of your complaints, in the notes of back pain, neck pain, and headaches, she wanted you to do some MRIs, correct?
I guess, I mean.
Okay. Do you look at this date as 9/1/2017? Do you see that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And this appears to be MRI of the lumbar spine without and with contrast. Do you see that?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. The records speak for themselves. He's going to read every single page. We're going to be here until I'm 88.
Your Honor, whenever he wants to read it, it's okay. But whenever I want to read it, it's taking his time.
You are going to into a lot of detail. I mean, if you could, I understand what you're trying to do, but you don't have to go over every single record.
Well, I'm not going to go through every single one, but I'm just trying to establish that there was nothing that was found resulting from the incident that she complains of, the subject of this lawsuit and suing my clients for $1 million.
Mr. Pema is not a doctor, so his reading of his analysis, he's analyzing this like he's a medical professional. It's in the record. The court has the records. The records speak for themselves and what's in them.
But I got to ask questions about them.
Repeating the same question 3 times.
I don't disagree, Mr. Pema, but just
I'll go a little faster.
Your examinations, some of it is becoming much less effective if you keep going over records that
Yes, Your Honor.
She's not going to know about MRI films.
Well, no, I just want to establish that they found nothing wrong with the MRI. That's all.
That's not what they found, Your Honor, and he's testifying. You just had it on the page, Mr. Pema.
I'll do this for the last time, Judge. Can you tell me what the impressions were? Can you read
me or the witness?
I'm not you, Your Honor. The witness, when he says there were findings.
Yes. The record speaks for itself. She's not a doctor.
Okay.
I don't understand a lot of this. I mean, there's words I can't even pronounce. I don't know what they mean, sir.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine, ma'am. Okay. Maybe this one you will understand. This is from Dr. Cantrell's record, and it says EEG clinical interpretation. Can you tell the court what the interpretation was?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you mean by that, sir.
Just read the highlighted portion.
Well, Mr. Pema, what you haven't read, what page are you on this medical record?
On page 28 of Cantrell's, which is Exhibit 5, and I don't know which exhibit is yours. Defense Exhibit 5.
Plaintiff 22.
Plaintiff what?
22.
Plaintiff's 22. And it'll be on page 28. Because I asked you if they ever told you what the results of your EEG were. You said you don't know. So I'm showing you.
I don't recall, sir. I don't recall. I mean, it's been so long. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I mean,
Ma'am, I understand.
Like I said, I don't.
There's
a lot of stuff I don't grasp and I don't remember.
Ma'am, I do understand that, but it appears, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but whatever Mr. Raphael asked you, you remember the details, but whatever I asked you, you don't recall. So I'm showing you the document.
I mean, I just try to live my everyday life I can't even live with. And you're trying to make me remember years back? I can't. I can't.
Ma'am, I'm just asking you to read through pages, the results of the EEG. What's wrong with that? I'm not trying to be mean.
I understand that. I mean, but there's records you're trying to make me read that there's words I can't even pronounce.
When you
read, I mean,
if you see anything on these 3 lines that I've highlighted and you can't read them, tell the court and we'll pass on. Do you see where it says 10-2-17?
Yes.
Can you read that?
The date? You're going to read the date again?
Yeah.
Objection,
What's the
Your Honor.
next?
Record speak for itself.
What's the next line?
The EEG clinical interpretation.
And what's below it?
Normal.
Okay, that's all. Your Honor, I don't want to go through it, but I would like the court to take notice of page 33 of Dr. Cantrell's notice that says no seizures or epileptiform discharge were recorded. So that way I don't have to get her to read it and then have all this people being upset at me.
Okay.
Aspire, no mites. Aspire, mites.
All right, let me show you something else. You testified that you cannot see properly, right? You having difficulty seeing?
Like reading right now, I need my
Right.
glasses to read.
Sure, sure. So do I, and I can see the judge also wearing his glasses. Do you remember having a brain stroke in 2018 or 2018, where you went to Baylor in Grapevine?
Brain stroke.
Yes, ma'am. You spent 2 days. You don't remember having a brain stroke?
Brain stroke?
Yeah.
No, sir, I don't
You
recall.
remember having a stroke?
What records are you referring to, Mr.
I'm just
Payne?
asking a question.
No,
you're
sir, I don't recall.
referring to a medical record that you probably haven't produced. But what are you referring to, Mr. Payman?
I'll get there. I'm just asking if she remembers.
Throughout this trial, this case, what medical record are you specifically referring to now?
Dr. Tinkles, Dr. Tinkle Mintz. But I'm trying to not bore the court with going through the whole thing. My question was, do you remember having a stroke in 2018? In May?
No, sir, I don't ever recall being told that either.
Okay. May I share my screen?
Right.
Ma'am, I'm showing you exhibit number 7, which is defendant's exhibit number 7, which is Texas Health Care Frisco medical records. What number is it on the plaintiff, Mr. Chalaki? Texas, that Dr. Mint, Texas, it's called Texas.
Dr. Mint is exhibit 25.
I believe it's exhibit 25, ma'am. And let me start in the bottom instead of top. Let me stop sharing so I don't bore everybody with what I'm looking at. What page? I think it's at 529. Okay. Ma'am, I'm showing you, and Mr. Rafael, is page 134 of Dr. Mint's records. Do you see the date here, 5/29/2018, ma'am?
Yes.
It says primary diagnosis status post CVA. And I'll show you where it says stroke, okay? All right. Does this familiarize you with patient was recently diagnosed with a CVA as was seen at Baylor Grapevine? Do you see that?
I see that, yes.
Does that refresh your recollection of what I'm talking about?
No, sir,
Okay.
I don't recall.
And it says patient has had difficulty with walking distance and she needs to have permanent disability, handicap parking, permanent handicap parking. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
Yeah.
I don't remember, I mean,
Huh?
I'm just trying to remember.
I'll come back to these in a second, but
I see where it's okay.
did I take it off, Judge?
You got from going too slow to a little too fast because I didn't see what you were talking about with the stroke. I saw it said that she's not feeling as well since the stroke, but can you show me again exactly what it said about?
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you did see what I was looking for, but I think I went too fast.
It said that she hasn't been feeling as well since the stroke. I saw that.
Right. So my question, now that we have the stroke, do you remember having a stroke, or you don't even remember having a stroke?
I don't even remember. I mean, if I felt ill, I mean, I don't recall, I mean, but just with my memory, I mean, I'm just trying to remember. I mean, I don't recall.
So you don't recall having a stroke. That's fine.
37.
Period. I don't.
Okay. This is what I'm talking about right here. Psychiatric. Is that what we're talking about? Sean?
Page 137 at the bottom. Page 4 of 6.
Okay. Let me show you this. Do you see where it says patient has felt more depressed since her stroke? This is from Dr. Mint.
Okay.
And this is dated on May 28, 2018.
Okay.
And that's when they increased your medication and told you to stop taking phentermine, which I think you were taking for weight loss. Correct?
Well, it wasn't for weight loss. It was for something else. But yeah, I was on phentermine.
I apologize. I acted like a doctor again. All right. So do you remember the stroke then?
The stroke, I don't recall.
Right. Okay. So let's just do it. You fractured your pelvis in August of 2016 from that automobile issue, right?
Yes, I did have the accident there. Yes.
Then on October the 19th, when you went to Parkland, they examined your pelvis and they said negative for pelvis fracture. Do you remember that? I can put it up again if you want.
No, that's fine. I done read all that. Too much
Okay.
information there, but yes, pull it up there.
But I've got to establish my facts on the record. That's I'm not trying to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, you pulled out all your information. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. And then let's look at here. It's a lot of records. Yeah, Judge, it's a couple of hundred pages of record. That's why it's difficult.
Okay.
Okay, let's look at this one now. Again, this is same exhibit, just a different date. Do you see the date up here, man? It says January 8, 2018.
Okay, yes.
So that's like 3 or 4 months after our incident. Do you see that?
Yes.
Can you see where it says fall? Patient fell last week, slip on ice, and fell on right side of her hip pelvis. Do you recall that?
What was that? I don't recall that. If it was a slip on ice, I don't even remember. I barely remember what I ate this morning, honestly.
Okay, but you don't remember what you ate this morning, but you remember the exact time you went to a bar 4 years ago. That's fine. We'll let the court decide that. But you do not recall. You do not recall slipping on ice and hurting your hip in January of 2018.
I'm trying to remember exactly. It was a couple of years ago, sir. I'm trying to remember this.
Take your time.
I'm trying to remember where I was at. I'm trying to remember, was I at home? Was I at work? Was I at a store? I'm trying to remember, where was I?
Ma'am, I'm just reading the record.
I'm just trying to remember, where I slipped at.
It's okay if you say you don't remember. We have.
Yeah, I don't remember, sir. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fair. So that was in January 8th, correct?
Let's make sure the judge is there. His office.
Your Honor, are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Okay, we just want to make sure we're not conducting a trial without a judge.
No, I'm here, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Did it say she broke her pelvis or just that she fell?
She fell and hurt her pelvis.
It doesn't say, there's no x-rays for that 2018 occurrence.
There will be, Judge, there will be.
Okay.
There will be. Now, let's go to March 14th. These are, again, same set of documents. March 14th is from Dr. Mint. Do you see that date, ma'am? March 14th?
Yes, I see the date there.
Okay. Can you read what it says up here? This highlighted portion?
Patient works for Dr. Kupchandani, who is an orthopedist who ordered a pelvic X-ray. And it cuts off there on the end, so I can't read the end, has fractured her pelvis. Again, patient is struggling to walk.
Stop. It says
Okay.
Patient works for doctor, and I can't pronounce his name,
Chandani.
who is an orthopedist who ordered a pelvis x-ray on her. Patient has fractured her pelvis again. Correct?
Why did
Correct.
you make her read that and then you read it?
Patient, patient,
Your Honor, she read it and then he read it. Why are we wasting time?
because she said she couldn't read it. Patient is struggling to walk and she's having dizziness. Patient is having difficulty with focusing and concentrating since her accident and head injury. Patient needs to refill. Can we agree that you fractured your pelvis again in March of 2018, or you don't remember?
Objection, Your Honor. What is the question? He read something and then we read.
Can we agree that you fractured your pelvis again around March of 14 of 2018, or you don't remember?
That's not what the record states, Your Honor. He is misstating what's in the record.
Judge, I read what it says. It says she has fractured her pelvis again and is dated March 14th. I don't know what I'm reading into it. That's on a visit.
Go ahead and ask her questions.
My question was, do you remember fracturing your pelvis in March of 2018, or you don't remember? That's my question.
No,
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't recall that one.
Okay.
It was in regards to March 14th. I mean,
Ma'am, the record is there. A judge can look at
Okay.
it. I'm not a doctor.
I don't recall.
That's fine. Just very quickly, Judge, I promise this won't take too long, but just want to make sure it's there. After that incident that I showed you, this is still the March 14th one, Judge. March 14th. You are now talking about positive for back pain and joint pain. Do you see that?
Yes, I'm reading that.
Right. Because if we went up there to the January stuff, I'm scrolling, Judge. I mean, you may not be able to see it, but I'm scrolling. Because if you look at the reports from Dr. Min in January, this is like 3 months after your fall, she talks about everything being okay, musculoskeletal negative for Malaysia, and neck pain. She says you have no neck pain in January, but after the fall, she says you have neck pain. Do you see why I'm asking you this question now?
Just ask her a question. You're arguing with her. Just ask her questions.
Can we agree that the records show that on January you did not have any neck pain that you reported to your doctor, as the record indicates?
Objection, Your Honor. Again, the record speaks for itself. He's going to ask her on every page of the record. I can go over every good and bad in the record. I did not do that. It's a bench trial.
Your Honor,
These
I want to
records
make sure.
have been admitted.
Your Honor, I want to make sure that she tells the
Mr. Payment, if you want to ask her about a record, you can read it to her and then say, some of the times you've been asking her, do you recall this? Don't just ask her if that's what the record says. That's what the record says. So you can ask her if she recalls it. You can ask her if she has a comment about it, if it's accurate.
Yes,
But
sir.
don't just ask her if that's what the record says. That's.
I will do it this way then, Your Honor. Ma'am, the record says that you are negative for myalgias and neck pain. Do you recall that? On January 8, 2018.
That's what it says there.
Right.
I don't recall, I mean, going that far back.
Okay, right. I don't want to give you a headache, Judge, so let me. Now, do you remember seeing Dr. Mint on March 21st of 2018? And you may not remember until I show you some documents, but do you have any recollection of that visit?
No, sir, I don't.
Right. Let's see if I can now this is 7 months after the incident. And just to show you, it's the March 21st, 2018. And it says, patient is feeling very anxious and depressed as she has moved away from her strange husband. Patient is planning to divorce him. Patient is not able to concentrate or focus at work. Patient feels overwhelmed and she's having more migraines. Do you recall that?
Let's see. I don't recall. I just know after all that, I just know we got divorced. I mean, just the horrible thing.
So the answer is you recall or you don't recall that?
I don't recall it.
That's fair.
No.
That's fair. Okay. Let's go to March, that same date. Because you're complaining about neck pain. Can you see this, ma'am? Again, this is on March 21st. It says neck, normal range of motion. Do you recall that? Not having any neck issues on March 21st, 2018. Am I being mean to you, ma'am? I'm just asking. I mean, I see that you're crying. Is there something with my tone that you don't like, or is it just taking too long?
No, it's just a lot of things that I'm trying to remember, and I'm just overwhelmed.
And ma'am, if you don't remember, it's easy to say, I don't remember. That's a good enough answer.
I just hate it that I can't remember things.
I understand. So would you like to, would you allow her to take a break, or do you want us to continue? She seems to be upset.
Well,
No, not if it's going to delay it.
are you almost done, Mr. Pema? This has been going quite some time.
I understand, Judge. It's a $1 million claim against my client. I can't just do it like a fender bender.
I understand. I'm just asking, are you almost done?
With this doctor, I'm getting close, but at least another 30, 40 minutes on this doctor alone.
Okay, why don't we do this then? Let's go ahead and we're getting close to 5, so let's